Tina Turner's from Nutbush, Tennessee.
Nutbush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nutbush.
Where is Nutbush?
I don't know.
It's just
Haywood County, wherever
just
Haywood
south
County
of.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by CinemaSins.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from CinemaSins, joined as always by the voice of CinemaSins, Jeremy Scott.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello to everybody. And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Bienvenidos.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Sí.
Now,
Hola, ¿cómo
see,
está?
you're going to
Ah.
get so much shit about that pronunciation, which I thought was perfect. Today, we have a Patreon and we have a Perks of Being a Sinflower tier.
Yes, it's the top tier.
So it's the top tier for going to Sin Week, which is going to happen. We got the dates wrong, I think, the last time. It is March 20th, I think.
I'm not
It's the
even going to open my
21st
mouth.
through the 23rd.
21st through the 23rd. Yes.
Yes.
I always think we think of in terms of the entire week because we're going to have like more videos and stuff like
Right.
that. But the actual hangout is on the 21st through the 23rd. Anyway, we do have some people signed up for those.
We do.
We'd like to recognize
Yes,
them.
we want to thank these. These are the perks of being a sinflower.
Ah,
Yes, which
that's
I thought
clever.
was very nice. We have Darren Watson, Dexter Hansen, Jacob Martindale, Jeff Widman, Joshua Looper, and Louise Zinner. Not Sinner, Zinner.
And
Thank you.
Seen
Yes,
a lot of
thank
these,
you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I've seen a lot of these people active on social media and stuff like that, so I see their names quite often. So,
Yeah, it's
it-
awesome.
Yeah, exciting. And we've got some. And is it Louise from Australia?
I don't know.
Somebody's from Australia. I think it's her.
Man, if she's swimming, I hope she started already.
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to take a long time.
We have what, 25 total slots for this. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a limited thing, not because we are hoity-toity sticking our nose up like Paris Hilton. I don't know why I made that reference. But because we want it to be intimate. Again, every time I say this, I'm going to say, not in a sexual way, but in a close.
Yeah.
We'll get to talk about stuff and things. And
Yes.
life and happenings. We'll get to share food. We're going to go see a movie. Can we talk about
Hey,
the movie?
yeah,
yet?
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Can we say what movie it's going to
Sure.
be?
Yeah.
We are going to go see Jordan Peele's follow-up, Us.
Yeah.
And we're going to run out
We're
of
going to
theater
run out the theater.
for just these people coming to the in-person Nashville hangout portion of Sin Week.
And not just any theater. This
Yes.
is the theater where CinemaSins was born.
Yes.
Where Chris and I and
Where all
Barrett
three of us have
worked.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be fun. We're going to, right now, I don't think it's ironed out yet, but the plan is to take everybody over to Top Golf, where you can hit golf balls and drink booze and eat meats and nachos.
You
With
just chew on like
Yeah,
a piece of meat.
That's right.
You
This
just swing
is like a big ham on a stick.
Did you notice that Justin Timberlake got in trouble at Top Golf because he did the Happy Gilmore swing? which
Oh,
is a
I
big-
saw that, but he got in
no-no.
trouble.
Well, he got in social media trouble where they were like, "Careful, Justin. We may have to keep an eye on you and
That's
tell
right.
your mama."
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got a lot of cool stuff planned, but it is limited. If you want to get in, you've got to get in by February 1st. Right?
Yeah.
And then that's basically, we're asking you for a 2-month commitment at that tier. And then after March, if you want to fade away, drop down to another tier, whatever, it's all good, baby.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all jiggy.
That's right.
It's butter.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's butter.
Whatever word you want to use that is positive.
I got jiggy with it.
Yeah.
I slipped into Bowfinger there because when Bowfinger is trying to get with Kit Ramsey, it's like, I read the script on the way over and it's butter. It's butter. It's jiggy. What do you mean? You read my script? Anyway,
Yeah, so just go to patreon.com/cinemasins. Sign up. We've got 4 different tiers. If you want to be in person hanging with us at Sin Week, March 21st through the 23rd, sign up for the Perks of Being a Sinflower tier. Otherwise, if you sign up for any of the tiers, you're going to have access to our e-convention for Sin Week.
Yep.
You're going to have access to 5 videos that week.
extra sins.
Now that and we've actually picked those videos, and they're glorious.
yes, and soon we will tell you what they are.
Yeah. And it's gonna be fun, man. You'll be able to watch us interact and do live podcasts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And also, even outside of Sin Week, any of our tiers get all of our content early. That includes the brand new podcast that just launched.
Yeah, baby. Today.
Today.
Movies going on 30.
Well, actually, this one is coming out next week. So
Yeah.
So we're
recording on the 15th.
Yeah,
so.
it launched a week ago on Tuesday. And we will be continuing with that all throughout the year. I'm sure Comcast right now is wondering why I'm renting so many 1989 movies.
It's like the when Netflix had that one person that watched like the Christmas Prince or something like that, like 40 times. And they tweeted out like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Well, there was one I saw that was positive where they the behavior of the viewer made them think he might be suicidal.
Oh, really?
So they reached out and said, "Are you okay?"
Wow.
I'll have to dig that story up.
Interesting.
I know that happened for a fact. It might have, I forget what the behavior was. It might have been somebody watching
The Christmas Prince?
like a Christmas Prince over and over and over.
But it's been an interesting. It's fun talking about these movies because a lot of them I haven't seen before, and that's the exciting thing about going through a year like this is because I was 12 years old when 1989 was going on, and there's going down this schedule. I'm like I kind of remember hearing about this movie once, but I never saw it, and then you finally watch it, and it's like, okay, what do I think about this? Because especially now we're in the beginning of the year and everything like that. There are some bad ones, but there's also some interesting ones. And some,
there's a lot of them that explore the deep recesses of the ocean.
Yeah, I can't wait. In fact, I'll give a little plug for one that's going to happen way up in February. That's how far ahead we are. But, we haven't done this podcast yet as of this podcast, but in the February podcast, 30 movies going on 30. We'll end up talking about True Believer. Ooh. And it's James Woods, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
James Woods plays a lawyer, and he is a fucking hippie liberal in that movie. I can't wait to talk about that.
Especially if Downey Jr. is somehow hard right, conservative.
No, he's liberal too. He's like 24 years old.
Yeah.
In that movie. But yeah, stuff like that I've heard of before, and would have never had a reason to watch. That's been the exciting.
The great
thing.
thing about this podcast is I was realizing today is you've come up with an idea that exists in perpetuity. Like on the SinCast, every 6 to 10 months, we're like, all right, we need a new main topic. What are we going to do? Whereas yours, 30 years from now, you just talk about the movies that came out this weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone will have forgotten most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go on as long as you like. I love it. And I've seen a lot of positive feedback already. I tweeted about it this morning, and I've looked at some of the comments, and people are digging it. So congrats.
Yeah.
And so check that out if you haven't yet. It's already up and running.
Yeah, it's
and
good stuff.
I guess now we should do actual content for this
Yeah,
podcast.
for this podcast, we are going back on our road trip.
Shotgun.
On the road again.
The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No. And yeah, we've got a twofer today.
Yeah, we're going to do, it's really just one, Barrett. South Dakota is not a state.
It's half a state.
But no, anyway, South Dakota is a state, and we will be doing that one and our home state of Tennessee today. Right. Let's go through South Dakota. It's a short list, but you know what? I've seen almost everything.
I was surprised how many I'd seen.
Yeah. The first one on the alphanumeric list is National Treasure. Starts with an N, if you didn't realize. National Treasure Book of Secrets.
That's right.
And it's really it's the point where they go to Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
That's really the only thing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I figured that there was going to be more movies because what immediately springs to mind is North by Northwest.
Yeah.
And actually Book of Secrets did pop into my brain, but I figured there's going to be a ton of movies that revolve around Mount Rushmore as being like a central plot piece. There's not.
Not really.
At least not many that I've seen.
Yeah. In fact, it makes me recall this was an ad that we had on movies at Hollywood 27. I think I was the only person who liked it for some reason. But there's like I can't remember the full plot of it, but they get this park ranger at Mount Rushmore. They need somebody to yell on the screen because there's there's like supposed to be these robots from space coming down and everything. And so like there's a point where like it's a cheap ass movie. They don't know what they're doing, obviously, but there's like this little UFO that comes over and starts blowing away Mount Rushmore. And the park ranger comes out in front of the screen and goes, "Robots from space!" So National Treasure Book of Secrets is not very good.
No, it's the problem that we almost always get with sequels, right? Especially when they're sort of hurried because the first one made more money than you expected. The first one, all that was charming from the first one has been stripped or over sugarified, and it's a big jumbled mess.
Yeah, it is, and especially the Ed Harris part, man. Like it's just so stupid. Like his character, Eddie Allen, like everything about his character and the moves he makes and all that stuff, the turn at the end, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. We send this, and it was just, it's one of those movies. Like,
it's also long, right?
Yeah, I really want to get into this. It's supposed to be fun and all that, but it's really just a garbled mess the whole time. And you write something every 30 seconds. It's that kind of movie. Yeah. This is when they introduce Helen Mirren into it.
Yep.
And
Bruce Greenwood is the president.
Bruce Greenwood is the president. Of course he is. You know what? He is so much the president in everything that he does that when he showed up in this TV show this TV show ad the other day, and he said something really commanding and everything, and I was like, I saw out of the corner of my eye what this title of the show was, and I thought it was The President. But it's The Resident.
Oh, it's that medical drama.
It's the medical drama. Yeah.
This is also the movie, if I'm correct, where we wrote that sin because there's like a party right when he kidnaps the president.
Yes.
Where Randy Travis is singing, and we wrote "Discount Randy." Holy shit!
Yeah.
Because he looked so.
Yeah. There's that whole thing where where Nicolas Cage somehow finds his way onto what is it? The camp. What's it called?
Camp David.
Camp David.
Yeah.
Finds himself on Camp David. And then manages to find his way to talk to the president out getting through the Secret Service, and then convinces the president to go into this room with him without the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Bruce Greenwood gets ticked off at the Secret Service guys. Just stay out here, okay? Just stay out here. And I'm like, all right. I guess if you're just gonna lay the plans right in front of him, you might as well. We're gonna kidnap the president of the United States.
This is a wholly unique Nicolas Cage haircut for this series.
Man, yeah.
I don't even know what it's going for because they're obviously styling it somehow, but it starts like midway back on his head. It's like a pull straight. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very unusual. I can't stop looking at it.
Then we get to the classic North by Northwest. Obviously, another movie that doesn't really take place in South Dakota. It starts in New York, I think. And there's a big United Nations thing, and then there's the cornfield thing, which I don't know that's not South Dakota.
I think it's like Nebraska or something like that.
But it does end up with a big Mount Rushmore finale and everything. North by Northwest is one of the best movies you'll see.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Alfred Hitchcock at his best. Cary Grant. I read a thing in college that a philosopher wrote about that movie, is that it was the whole movie you could watch on the level of Hitchcock criticizing Cary Grant's career or his acting style.
I was watching this fairly recently, actually. That scene on the train with Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint is sexy as hell,
sexy
man.
as fuck, man.
And God, that dude could fill you hear George Clooney is the modern day Cary Grant, and you can see that equivalence because he was always the coolest guy in the room. He was always the best dressed in the room. And it is interesting you made the comment about the acting style, because you wouldn't necessarily say, like Clooney, he's the best actor necessarily, but like he's such a presence, he's such a movie star that it was amazing.
Yeah, the dialogue that you're talking about there is just so sexy.
Yeah.
Like the whole it's like I might have the certain urge to ask you to go to bed with me and all that, and he's like, you might find that offensive or whatever, and she's like, well, maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that stuff. Like, why are you so good to me? And she's like, you want me to go up there and show you?
Yeah.
Oh man, Eva Marie Saint.
Yes.
Then we go on to a movie just as good in quality, Son-in-Law.
Yes, yes, it is.
Middle America.
You want to talk about? You talked about Carla Gugino in the last episode. Holy shit! This is where you fall in love with Carla Gugino.
Probably 1920 or something like that.
She's a little older than that.
Really?
She's
The movie was made in the 90s, Spirit.
It's 94.
she's
Not 1920.
She's like 23, 24.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the first things that she was in that was wide.
Yes.
Spread, right?
Yes. And this was still at the height of Pauly Shore's popularity, because this movie may have done more. I don't know if it did better than Encino Man, but it
made $36 million.
He hadn't started to go downhill yet.
yeah, we're not in the army now, jury duty portion of his career.
Which, is, to be honest, it's not that much longer until that happens.
No, it's like a year later almost. I really enjoy Son-in-Law, though.
I do too, man.
It's not, yeah, I mean, it's not the funniest movie you'll ever see, but there's some good heart to it. And,
Oh, yeah.
it was fun to watch. It was another one of my, like, go on break type movies I'd go and watch every once in a while. I haven't seen it in forever, but...
His character's name is Crawl.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Jesus.
And Lane Smith, who plays the dad, is always like messing it up and calling him like cramp. Yeah. Yeah.
I
and
remember
then he
really
does-
liking it.
Yeah, well, Lane Smith at the end does like a Pauly Shore impression. You
Oh,
remember that?
yeah.
I can't even remember what he says, but it's just ridiculous.
Who's the older guy that's in that? The grandpa that's in that? He's a well-known actor.
Mason Adams.
Mason Adams.
Yeah.
Well, he's just got this wonderful voice and everything. That guy tried to kiss me. If it came to you kissing me or me dying, I'd rather die.
Yeah, no, this is definitely. This came. Did you say it came right after Encino Man? Like that?
I believe so. Encino
Yeah.
Man was like 92.
Yeah.
And then Son-in-Law came out the following year or 94.
It was 93. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 2 stretch run is right before like he wore out his welcome, and it was still, and like you said, those 2 movies have a lot of heart to them, you know, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Biodome, not so much.
No, Biodome was a really, that might be the turning point.
I think
really.
it was. I actually happened upon that not too long ago, and it was.
That
There's
was
Baldwin in that.
There is.
It was funny to me that Biodome now for me is just the movie that Kevin Smith refers to when he was talking about how he was making Mallrats, and he ends up getting, I think it's Michael Rooker to play the dad in that or whatever, and he wanted William Atherton.
Oh,
and
really?
William Atherton turned down Mallrats to be in Biodome.
Oh, that's hilarious. You could see William Atherton in that role like perfectly too.
Yes,
That's
absolutely. And then rounding out a short list, but we'll have a few others after this. But Team America World Police, another one where the Mount Rushmore shows up. This is where their headquarters is.
Yeah.
So it's really actually like, I mean, it's not really in South Dakota, but it's there's like an actual base there.
Yes.
You know,
He sucks dude's dick, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He does. I don't want you to come here and fuck my mouth. And then like he's like I remember when you came to me and you said he said you thought that I wanted to put your dick in my mouth, and now you can't trust me, or I can't trust you. Now I want you to put your dick in my mouth. He's like, what?
That's fucking
I've
hilarious.
been watching
Or-
an unhealthy amount of MacGruber lately, where he says that thing about before tonight is over, I'm going to cut your dick off and shove it in your mouth. He says it like 4 different times. That movie, is that objectively, is that movie, How much shame should I feel for? I've seen MacGruber maybe 9 or 10 times in the last.
I've seen
I
it once. I thought it was funny.
I don't know. I saw it on a Thursday night, and I think I was expecting more from it.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Oh.
Now, since then, I keep reading either think pieces or random asides that this movie's genius. Maybe I should give it another chance.
I don't even think it's genius. I do think it was not what anybody was expecting. I also think you have to keep in mind this is not one that I saw in theaters. I only saw this for the first time maybe 2 years ago. So it could be a Horrible Bosses 2 situation where it hit me in the right way, and now every time I see it again, I'm remembering the first time. I don't know, but that movie makes me laugh pretty much nonstop.
I know there are moments in that movie that I like. I like the sex scenes. They're really ridiculous.
That's set up with when he goes to get all his buddies, his crew, and it's like playing that dun 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 dun, and they load up in the van, and he shuts the doors, and you know what's coming because he goes over to Ryan Phillippe and Powers Booth, and he's like, over there in that truck, it's 100 and some years of combat experience and a whole lot of brotherhood. And a bunch of C4 that I personally packed with my own too, and the truck blows up behind him. And even though you know it's coming, and that joke alone is not super fresh, the way he sells it, because he turns and goes, oh, fuck! And he runs and he's like, you guys, are you okay? Someone's still gotta be in there, you guys! And then he turns around and he's like, call 911! Call 911! So I would say give MacGruber another shot, but I would not call it genius.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny, like almost kind of like a Zoolander kind of way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember liking it.
It leans into the stupid just enough. And then Kristen Wiig is just great.
Yeah.
She's
She
just
is.
great. She says, you guys, I peed my pants. And there's like a 3-second pause, and she goes, I peed him. Sorry, everybody. This is my little MacGruber one-off.
So as we were talking about Team America World Police.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, you think have you seen this recently?
It's been a year, maybe.
Does it hold up, like, because there's so much current affairs?
I would say this movie is funnier closer post 9/11 than it is now, because we're not in that. We sort of have ramifications of that era. But like back then, it seemed like everybody was like, let's go to Afghanistan, let's go to Iraq, let's go to all these places and just blow them up and blah, blah, blah. And then Team America makes a lot of satire out of that because they basically blow up Paris trying to hunt down one guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, congratulations, France. They're like, making it seem like they should be like okay with them.
You're welcome.
Blowing up the Eiffel Tower and shit. But no, it doesn't have, it may not have that same, you don't have that same feeling like you did back in 2004, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
It's still got a lot of stuff in it, like just action movies in general. They're making fun of like Armageddon and Pearl Harbor and Michael Bay movies. A lot of those. There's a whole song about how Michael Bay sucks in that movie.
That's got great music too, man. You got America, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that and I haven't. This may be the last time I've literally rolled on the floor laughing when
The first time America,
that song, because I was not. You're just not expecting it.
well, because it sets you up like America.
Yeah,
you don't expect like the fucking guitars to come in.
And then there's like the extended version in the credits where they go way, way, way deeper.
And my favorite is the reprise where they have the slowed down version.
No,
like,
yeah.
America. Fuck.
Yeah. And the whole song during the sex scene is funny enough because there's so much ridiculousness going on in it. But the song itself, just listen to the words, which are very, very hetero based. Like he's like, all I ask is that you're a woman. And then he just keeps saying, hey, as long as you're a woman, this is going down. And of course, then they do the one, like, I think in the credits where it's like he's just been saying woman the whole time. And then he goes, or a man.
Let me ask an honest question here. On the Arby's commercials now, the dude says, "We've got the meats," and now he pops back up and says, "For sandwiches."
I don't know what the fuck that is. That's H. John Benjamin.
Did someone slap them on the wrist for saying "We've got the meats"?
I have no idea.
Or are they intentionally playing into the double entendre by now pointing it out with dudes saying, "For sandwiches, what did you think I meant, penises?" Like, I can't figure it out because
I
they
can't
did
either.
it. They did it without the tag for a year and a half.
Oh, more than that. It's been on forever.
I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Drive me crazy. All right, next movie.
I don't know. Before that, it was Ving Rhames. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. We have the meats.
Ah,
But Team America World Police is great.
Yes.
Then the other list here, Badlands. Okay. I wish I had seen this movie.
Oh, me too.
I've seen parts of it.
I've seen this movie.
You've seen Badlands?
I
Okay.
can comment on this movie.
Okay, comment on this movie then.
This is the only Terrence Malick movie I like all the way through.
Okay.
Really? And ironically, I think it's his first movie.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not.
It is.
I wasn't positive. Like the New World.
1973.
I think the first hour of the New World is nearly. This is just me. Nearly transcendent. I love it. It's one of the few times I get what his lyrical camera work is going for. Thin Red Line doesn't work for me.
Really?
Not really at all.
Huh.
And I get that I'm not the only one that feels that way, but lots of people love that movie.
No, I understand. I like it, but I can see why people don't like it. It's too talky. It's too preachy. It's too, yes.
And Badlands is just a much more simple. It's basically, I mean, I think it's based on a true couple, but it's kind of a Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing.
I think it is based on a true story.
And they're just going around killing fools.
Charles Starkweather and his girlfriend Carol Ann Fugate.
Yeah. And it's Martin Sheen, super young. And it's one of, I think the simplicity of the story in this and in the New World's first hour is why I like it. And then in the complicated second hour and in the Thin Red Line where it's much more complicated story is where I kind of, Malick starts to lose me.
And the entirety of Tree of Life.
Now, the only reason I ever saw this movie was right after my wife and I got married. We weren't making a lot of money and we didn't have cable. But I had an HD, like an LCD TV or whatever. And over the air, there were like 2 or 3 HD channels. And we watched those fairly regularly. I can't quite remember what they were called. But there was a travel drinking show called 3 Sheets.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And it was on one of those channels. I used to watch it all the time. But one of the other channels just played old 70s movies in HD. And this happened to come on. And I watched probably 30 minutes of it before I even knew Terrence Malick had anything to do with it. And I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I only did see it the once. That was about 9 years ago. But I really, really liked it. And I can't really get through any Malick movies. So
This is not about Badlands, but Sissy Spacek was so good at playing naive, like very like virginal women. She does this, I believe, in Badlands because I've seen just the parts of it or whatever. But she obviously does it in Carrie. She does it in Coal Miner's Daughter. She's just so sweet, like just a sweet, sweet person. You like, man, in Coal Miner's Daughter, I want to marry her.
Oh yeah,
she's just perfect in that.
Yeah, and here she starts out that way. And dude just murders her dad, just kills him. And then she goes off on the run with him. And
that's like Natural Born Killers later on.
Very much, very
more
much.
acid induced.
Yeah. I would check it out. I'd give it, Jeremy is giving it 1.5 thumbs up.
Nice.
I only have 2 thumbs, so that's pretty high praise.
That is pretty high praise. Then there's an HBO movie that came out in 2007 starring Anna Paquin called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's great. I shouldn't even mention this, but you saw that Trump said that Elizabeth Warren should go out to Wounded Knee and have her husband dressed in Indian garb.
That's racist, right?
It's incredibly racist.
Even if she's ultimately not as much Native American as she wanted us to think, even if she was 1,000% Caucasian, what he said is still racist, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Why can't we talk about that?
I don't know.
I mean, like as a nation.
It gets talked about. It's just that there's a large group of people who don't think it's racist.
Yeah. Or don't care.
Or don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that Wounded Knee came up, in the Twitter timeline, and I just thought it was funny that they were doing this
do we
Dakota.
know what specifically this is about?
No.
It says here on the IMDb, a historic chronicle based on the book by D. Brown explains how Native Americans were displaced as the United States expanded west.
Yeah, Fred Thompson plays Ulysses S. Grant.
That
Anna
sounds
Paquin.
that sounds about right.
Aidan Quinn.
Hidalgo. I have seen this.
Me too.
Oh my God, I fell asleep during it.
Horsey.
Viggo Mortensen.
It looked like a movie that would put you to sleep.
This is a Viggo Mortensen movie he did after Lord of the Rings,
Yep.
and I guess he was sort of trying to, I don't know, make a movie that capitalized on his new fame and everything,
Or at least make the most of those riding lessons.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
And Hidalgo was a movie I started watching late one night, Thursday, Hollywood 27, and I would find myself asleep and like wake up and be like, oh, I have no fucking clue what's going on in this movie, and just managed to kind of like hang around and make sure that everything went through fine before I went home for the night. But I didn't give this a true chance, but it did make me fall asleep.
Well, my wife likes it.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen it 3 or 4 times, maybe. And it feels more like a crappy Mummy sequel, the Brendan Fraser Mummies.
Yeah, it does.
Than anything good.
Huh.
And it's basically just a series of chest beating and horse races. And that doesn't do it for me.
Nope.
And it hasn't since Chariots of Fire. Wait, that's not horse races.
Yeah.
Which is one is the horse races? Never
And
mind.
her.
Far lap.
Racing Stripes.
Yes, racing.
Iron Will, 1994. I think Mackenzie Aston is the main guy. In
Wow,
it.
good pull.
And I never saw it. It's like was it a sled dog movie?
Yeah.
I mean, if you put a cold mountain, a dog, and a dude's face on the poster, it could be any number of a dozen movies, and I just don't watch any of them.
Iron Will. This was
Yeah.
one of those like Disney preteen or tween type of adventure movies. Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey's in this too.
Yeah. And then Mercury Rising, which I did see and I don't remember anything about.
It's Bruce Willis and Baldwin.
Yes.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
And like one of those like genius kids, one of those savants.
Oh, really?
And he's like memorized some kind of encrypted something. I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sure it's something like this.
Yeah, the kid is named Miko Hughes. And it has Shy McBride, Kim Dickens. Yeah, shadowy elements in the NSA target a 9-year-old autistic savant for death when he is able to decipher a top secret code.
How?
Nice.
How's that for a pull?
Very
I saw
nice.
this shit once in the theater. Boom.
I saw this once and forgot it.
How many credits do you think Bruce Willis has?
Oh, geez.
My guess is 140.
I would guess 212. Because right now, he's at a pace of making 12 movies you've never heard of per year.
Yeah, right. And it's all the direct to Blu-ray
It is.
stuff that you
It
see
is.
with
There's
like
a
Mark
lot
Paul
of-
Gosselaar, like fucking
Or
Screech.
Michael Imperioli.
Yeah. He has 119.
wow. What did you say?
I said 140.
Oh, I thought you said 120.
Oh, no. I mean,
That would have been balls.
I mean, he'll have 140 by the end of this year.
That's true.
That does it for South Dakota.
That's it.
Wow.
And now we're going to move on to our state, the state we are in right now.
That's it.
Tennessee. And you know what? When I took a cursory look, I didn't actually see very many of these, but we'll start it off. All Saints. I never saw this.
Have you heard about this?
What
It's
is
John
this?
Corbett, who plays a preacher of a
Oh,
church
yes.
that's located in Smyrna, which is like 30, 40 miles southeast of here.
It's one of those faith movies, right?
It is one of those faith movies, but I think it's based off of some sort of like true story. It's where the church is getting closed down. It's an interesting narrative. The church is getting closed down, and he's trying to keep it open, and also they're linked inexorably to some. They're also linked to a group of refugees from Myanmar, and so like to keep his church open means not only his parishioners can worship there, but also they're supporting this tribe of refugees. So it's an interesting story. I saw it. It was fine.
You saw it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a production value of like a Lifetime movie or something like that. And John Corbett is fine. I actually saw John Corbett was into All the Boys I've Loved Before, which I'm going to talk about later on.
Okay.
And he's, like I said, man, he's always a welcome presence. I like him.
All right.
An American Haunting. I didn't see this. It does say 2005, but it came out in 2006. It's about the Bell Witch.
Yeah,
And it's got Sissy Spacek in it.
it does.
It's got Donald Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see this though. It's about apparently a death occurred to this spirit.
It toggles back and forth. It starts in the present day and then goes back to the 19th century or something like that when the legend of the Bell Witch started. Are you familiar with the Bell Witch?
Yeah.
It was like it's a urban legend around Middle Tennessee that's been passed down for ages. It's fine. It's a fine horror movie. It's got a couple of effective scares. There's one where it looks like the daughter is being held up by her hair and floating above the floor, and that's kind of a crazy image. I remember liking it. It's got some weird subtext to it, especially towards the end when it comes to the family dynamic. But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah,
it's all right.
movie I have seen, Black Snake Moan.
I saw this recently.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
The director, Craig Brewer, I think is either from Memphis or he's got a Memphis tie-in or something like that. Although this isn't Memphis though, is it? Is it?
It is.
Because I think Hustle and Flow is too. Hustle and Flow is a Memphis thing. But Black Snake Moan is Samuel Jackson basically kidnaps Christina Ricci, ties her to a radiator
because she is liquid sex.
Yes,
She's got the devil in her.
Cannot stop fucking.
Yeah,
that's basically the premise.
This movie it should not be as enjoyable as it is.
Well, I was going to say there's hardly anybody to root for in this movie. Justin Timberlake's in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He plays her is it her boyfriend?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's off to war, I think.
Yeah.
He's come back recently. Yeah, and it's weird. It's weird.
I love it though.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd go that far.
There's a lot of Ricci nudity in this.
Ricci. There is indeed. I mean, she's essentially naked when she's tied to this radiator.
Yeah.
Yes, and especially probably watching it now, I would probably have a different reaction to it. But when I saw it, it just something about it tickled my. Something about it made it endeared itself to me, and there's a couple of just classic Samuel L. Jackson moments in this movie that I think are great. There's one way over the top, stupid scene where he's playing fucking guitar and Christina Ricci is trying to leave, and then she cozies up to him and everything, and there's a storm going on, and the thunder crashes, and he kicks on the distortion and starts fucking singing about Black Snake Moan. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, there's the scene when a random teenage boy walking by gets pulled into the house and she's chained to the radiator and draws him to her, and I think they only come close to doing it before Sam Jackson comes. Even that scene is almost mystical, right? It's fantastical the way it's played, that there is this sort of lure pull that can't be resisted.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I was a teenage boy once.
Yeah,
I could see it.
This was the same year Black Snake Moan and Snakes on a Plane came out.
That's
crazy.
Really?
Yeah. So Sam
God,
Jackson
he plays polar opposite because he's 70 something, right? Or is he just turned 70?
Now he is, yeah.
And he plays an old codger in Black Snake Moan, and then he's this souped up, super assassin government agent in Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
This guy is singular.
Yeah. When he's originally from Chattanooga.
He is.
So is Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, and we have a few people who Quentin Tarantino's from Knoxville, and Morgan Freeman's Memphis. So few people you may have heard
Hannah
of.
Montana's from Nashville.
Hannah Montana for sure. Then we have The Blind Side, the story of Michael Orr, who came up through. Now he was from Mississippi, I think, right?
Yeah, so they were in Memphis,
and then so it was Memphis, and then he went to Ole Miss. Like all the family that adopts him essentially went to Ole Miss and everything. And I guess it was a big thing in there, was he's going to go to UT or is he going to go to Ole Miss and everything? And he ends up going to Ole Miss because his adopted family did it. Michael Orr had a somewhat decent career, I guess. He played for the Ravens for a while, but yes, he as a pro, I don't think he really
No.
panned out.
And the movie treats him as if he were like the greatest left tackle of all time.
Yes.
This was basically just Sandra Bullock's Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah.
That's how I regard the movie.
Yeah.
And she got her
just
Oscar.
fine.
And it's it's basically like the whole point of it is like she teaches him how to be the this is like it's
Protect
like
the
you
quarterback.
protect the blind side. and
I don't understand this, man. I don't know who else was nominated that year, but like nothing about that performance screams Oscar, definite Oscar.
Well-
and it's like she was a runaway train. There was no stopping her.
This is your Hollywood royalty getting in a movie that's just good enough to finally award her.
Yeah.
So, like, if anybody out there who has like never won an Oscar gets into one of these movies, they're going to win it. Doesn't matter if 4 other people or 10 other people are better than them. So it did like cynically scream Oscar to me when I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the movie is perfectly fine. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's not like, I mean, I think on the IMDb it's got some outrageous 7.8 something
What?
rating. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not that good,
No.
but it's good. It's
It's
all
a
right.
fine story. I think they hew pretty closely to what happened. I think there was like some sort of investigation into why he went to Ole Miss and like
Yeah.
if they had legally adopted him or what happened. But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just not any better than that.
Yeah, and there's a glamour shot of former UT coach Phil Fulmer going, "Wow."
In that Sopranos marathon I was watching the final season.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did 2 season 6s.
I don't
Baffling.
either.
But
Yeah.
there's that, like, I think it's the last episode or the next to last episode is where Eric Mangini has a cameo in the restaurant. Because one of the mobsters is like, "Hey, Tony, who's over there? It's the man genius." And you're like, what a fucking time capsule this episode is. Because he was hot shit for like 6 weeks
Yeah.
and then over.
Right.
Now he's got like the 10 p.m.
Yeah, I
show on
watched that
SEC Network.
final episode again because that final episode's just so well constructed. The ending of that is so well constructed.
Oh, yeah.
I love too the fact that when it first aired, and I didn't get to see it when it first aired. But when it first aired, the way they cut away from Tony in mid, like just looking over it as we assume Meadow is coming through the door, it just cuts off midway and it's black. And so like tons of people called their cable and said, it just shut off like in the middle of the ending.
I was confident that something had fucked up on my TV because it was so sudden. It was right after the "Don't Stop."
Yeah.
And I was like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And because there was so much anticipation building in that scene, I was like, fuck. Oh, yeah, all right.
But in hindsight, it really works perfect.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Then we have the Castaway. The Castaway. We have
The
Castaway.
Castaway.
I was about to say The Client, which is the next one, but Castaway, obviously in Memphis for quite a bit of it when he's not on the island. Although Memphis has a few islands like that.
Yeah, definitely. Mud Island.
Yeah, Mud Island. Memphis, because FedEx is based there. It's a big, huge advertisement for FedEx.
It is, man.
It's one of those, you may not remember that about Castaway because of most of the stuff on the island and Wilson and all that. But god damn, is that a FedEx commercial?
It is.
Didn't we even joke? Did we seen this movie?
Yeah, we did.
We joked about like it could have been DHL or
Yeah,
UPS or any other.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Great movie.
I can watch this movie anytime, at any point that I come in on it. Like every once in a while, like I'll come in right as the plane crashes, and that scene is amazing.
Yeah.
His whole journey to get on the island is riveting. And then by the time I realize it, like I've watched the entirety of the movie because I can't rip myself away from it. It just keeps going and going and going. And what I do like is that it spends a lot of time setting up before he makes the fire, right?
Yeah.
And before he does the tooth thing. It sets up a lot of that, but it doesn't dwell on him building the raft and all that stuff. It flashes forward pretty quickly. And so the movie doesn't bog down for a movie that's, a singular showpiece for this guy. You'd think that it would have some slow spots. I think it's just perfect all the way through.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I don't need everything after he gets rescued.
I guess that's
I don't know how to end it better.
You could end it better than him literally being at a crossroads.
Well, you could. Yes. Well, I mean, you could have ended it. You could actually. This would be a fun editing exercise. Is if you edit it from where that ship goes by to like the end of Captain Phillips, where he's getting medical treatment on the boat.
Nice.
You could end it that way.
Yeah.
Not literally clipping in that footage. But yeah, you're what I think we even mentioned this in the Sins video is that, you know, the director's so confident in his lead actor that there's long takes where the camera's just sitting there. Mm-hmm. And it's just letting Tom Hanks do his thing. We're not seeing a lot of camera movement, not a lot of zooming in and out. It's just, he's nailing it. Watch him.
It's the literal embodiment of we would watch Tom Hanks read the phone book.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, it's really good. Is this the last good Robert Zemeckis movie?
It's the last one that I love.
Yes. Well, it's the last, great one.
So he did Flight, which is going to be up there somewhere like in that it's decent category. But he went on this like thing. What Lies Beneath also came out this same year, but What Lies Beneath has been forgotten a time. He started on this whole like effects driven Polar Express, Christmas Carol, Beowulf kick for a really long time. In fact, that's pretty much all of his 2000s or is stuff like that. Then he finally gets back into stuff like Flight, and then Welcome to Marwen, which I still haven't seen.
I haven't either.
Which
hasn't really gotten.
The reviews are telling me to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and apparently I didn't realize that there was a previous documentary about this guy.
I didn't know that.
That everybody says just watch that. It's much better.
It seems to be the case a lot, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did The Walk, which I didn't see. He did Allied.
Oh, that's funny. That's the second documentary that he's remade into. Like the documentary is apparently superior.
Yeah.
So
you guys, I went down a rabbit hole. You know that end part of Alpha Dog where Sharon Stone is given that interview about how she's tried to kill herself, and alcohol has always been involved. And then she does that great line where she's like, if God has a plan for me, he better get the fuck down here and tell me what it is. That scene has always played weird to me. And she's often, I've just assumed it was poorly acted. Mm-hmm. There's real video of the real woman, the real mother.
Really?
Saying everything Sharon Stone says it, and she's nailed that.
Really?
That woman says it exactly like Sharon Stone. It's fucking chilling to watch when you know it's the real woman.
Wow.
But she delivers those lines exactly like Sharon Stone does, note for note.
That's interesting.
And that's all that scene has always stood out to me as bad. But her makeup job is not great in that scene either. The weight gain effects that they're trying to do on Sharon Stone don't really work there. Mm-hmm. But
that's interesting. She's actually nailing it.
She's nailing it.
The original is not good.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen that movie now?
Alpha Dog?
Yeah.
Over 20. Easy. Easy. I can't
like
stop
going
back.
Though.
I can't stop going back. It's just
so good.
And what's crazy to me is that he hasn't made more movies this good. Because I've seen a handful of Cassavetes movies, but none of them holds a candle to this one. And it's just like something came together perfectly on this, and he wrangled a huge cast of will-be stars that aren't yet. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie that just didn't get good play when it first came out, and we've talked about it before. Was wrangled up in its own legal issues because the people who were giving them information about how to make the movie, they hadn't even done the trial yet. Now we go on to The Client. Of course, if there's any one aspect about this state, it's Grisham land.
Yeah.
You will see a lot of Grisham stuff in here. The Client is Joel Schumacher's second. It's his first, and then Time to Kill would be the second one that he did. Based on this movie, John Grisham was like, I finally entrust someone to do A Time to Kill. That was my first bestseller, and I'm finally... Here you go, Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
After The Client?
We were talking last week about like the pantheon of Grisham movies adaptations and how what was the one that you were talking about?
Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker was near the top of that list. The Client to me is down near the bottom.
Yeah.
It's hard watch, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And so you have Brad Renfro, who was from Knoxville.
Is he really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
No longer with us, unfortunately, but
I forgot that.
yeah. Susan Sarandon and Tommy Lee Jones rounded out, and I actually don't even remember what this movie was about. It's
Some
Renfro
sort
the
of-
client.
His little
Think so.
brother witnessed a murder.
And it was mob based,
A Memphis
right?
mob-based murder, and they're threatening the kids. The mom's a single mother who doesn't have patience, but she loves her kids. Susan Sarandon is the lawyer with a heart of gold.
Mhm.
Tommy Lee Jones.
He's the old drunk, right? Like
Well, he's just the legal pursuer.
Yeah.
He's always pursuing somebody in this movie. And yeah, it's just buggy, muggy, fuggy crap. I hated it. I don't think anyone's accent works.
No.
Even though Renfro's from Knoxville, I feel like his accent is one of the worst in the movie. And it
That's
may just
true,
be
yeah.
because he's trying too hard. It's almost like that Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
What are we going to do up there?
Sound a little too Boston.
Right. Well, yeah,
Um,
that's an odd aspect, right? When you get somebody who's actually from the region and then they play it up, like,
Right.
like I think I may have mentioned this before. Reese Witherspoon in Freeway, like
Oh,
really
yeah,
dials
yeah.
up. I don't think she has a Southern accent anyway, but like she really dials that shit up in Freeway.
That's a fucked up movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the client's not very good. Then Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. I never saw this.
No.
Oh, yeah. Davy Crockett.
Is it
King
where
of
the song
Wild
comes from?
Frontier. Yep. The Ballad of Davy Crockett.
So the movie's from 1902.
1955.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never saw
This is we actually watched this in middle school, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's fine. It's an old Disney movie, I think. Where it goes through the life of Davy Crockett is almost unbelievable. Like he fought in the Civil War, I believe, and then negotiated some war treaty between the Creek Native Americans and the U.S. And then went on to be a senator, and then he fucking died defending the Alamo. So like this guy just led like a million lives.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly fine. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie. I remember about the person because we learned so much of him being from Tennessee.
By the way, I don't think this is on the list, but it reminds me of the movie Sergeant York, which Alvin C. York was from Tennessee,
Oh.
and I think a lot of that movie is set there. Gary Cooper plays Alvin C. York, and this is the opposite of Hacksaw Ridge, where he's a conscientious objector. At first, the movie's like,
But he loves killing.
he loves killing. This movie's like, I think it's like 3 and change, maybe 4 hours long, something like that. Because it starts off with him in his early days, where he's a sort of a small time criminal type guy, and then he finds Jesus, and he becomes a Bible thumper type of guy. And then he becomes conscious objector once World War I comes along, and they want to recruit him and everything. And so he goes through a whole like period of time where he's like, I'm not going to go. Then he reads some Bible passage that says it's okay in wartime and all that. So he goes off to war and you know, like early on, you see him like he wins a turkey shoot or whatever, and you see he's an awesome, he's awesome with a gun and everything. So there's a scene in there where he's killing Germans like the turkeys he shot earlier in the movie. Really good movie though, by the way. It's been, I don't know if it's been lost to time.
Is this movie being parodied by the movie within a movie in Inglourious Bastards, the German version? Is that sort of like the play on this with the sniper movie where he is in the tower and he kills all the Allied
he's
forces?
not. I mean, he does technically, I guess, snipe in this. He's sort of hidden behind the thing, but he's there's a big thing with the turkeys is like if you shoot the one that's behind the leader, if you shoot the leader, then you won't get anybody. You only get the one. But if you shoot the one in the back, all the other ones won't recognize it, and they'll just keep going about their way. So he
Interesting.
shoots a bunch of them, and then in this one, he's behind their enemy lines, and they're all in a bunker, and he keeps shooting one after the other, and they're not even aware of what's going on. And then finally, when they are. He claims that there's like 100,000 of us or whatever behind or whatever, and they all surrender. Of course, that bullshit probably didn't really happen the way it said it did, but
That's what Gideon did. In the Bible? With all the horns all the way all around?
You know what?
His army was
I
way
haven't
bigger?
seen it in forever, but I guarantee you there's some Gideon reference in there that I didn't get at the time. But yeah, we were proud of our Tennessee war heroes.
That's right,
here.
man.
Then we have Death Proof, which is Tarantino's really only foray into his home state.
Well, except for Butch was supposed to go to Knoxville in
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Next time I see you, be on Tennessee time. Death Proof in the second half, after the unbelievably great first half of Death Proof. The second half isn't as good, but man, I love the whole movie.
Yeah.
But after the first half, which is in Austin, which we will be getting to Texas after this. But after that first half, he tracks down some other women who are sort of going through Lebanon, Tennessee. Even though Rosario Dawson calls it Lebanon, Tennessee.
And here you call it Lebanon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't blame her. I mean, hell, it's supposed to be Lebanon. But they're going through that because this is a bunch of people who are working on a movie that in town or whatever, and they're working on the coolest movie and blah blah blah. But they have that opening section of the second half is them in some sort of diner, and he's recreating the Reservoir Dogs scene.
Yeah.
I think it's shot for shot, except for the dialogue.
Yeah.
But
And so Zoe Bell plays herself.
Zoe Bell plays
right?
herself.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's such a weird, like that second half to me. I'm like you. I love it. I love the first half even more. But the second half just feels strange. Like it's a meta reality because Zoe Bell is playing herself.
Yeah.
It's a movie shooting about a movie that's aping another movie by the
Yep.
same director. Like it's just unusual, but it does work.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I guess he finally said, let's do something. I don't think they shot it in Tennessee though. I don't think they shot it there.
I still feel bad for the brunette.
Oh, Mary Elizabeth
They
Winstead.
just give her to that creep for the car.
Yeah.
And we never hear from her
Yeah,
again.
and I know that at the end they're like beating up Kurt Russell, and like you don't even know if they like what happens with Mary Elizabeth
She's off
Winstead.
living an episode of Criminal Minds,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. She's apparently, I think she's the main star of the movie that they're shooting. And then you have Tracy Toms plays like a stunt coordinator, maybe. I don't know what she plays in this. But Zoe Bell does play herself. She was a long time Uma Thurman body double.
Right.
That was and she does look a lot like her. If you saw her from a distance and everything, you can see exactly why she got that. But yeah, I love Death Proof, man. I think that's it's an underrated movie even by Tarantino himself.
It is, and again, Kurt Russell is doing terrific work and gets overlooked as being just like this perfect leading man. He's really, really great.
Has he ever won an Oscar?
No.
Has he ever done anything that got him nominated, do you think?
Captain Ron.
He may have been nominated for Miracle, but I'll look it up.
Because there's a guy that may be next in line for the Julia Roberts
Yeah, we need to get him a
Bullock
blindside.
honorary, right?
We actually, I think we looked this up a few weeks ago. He's only been nominated for a Golden Globe once, and it was for Silkwood.
You're
Oh,
right. We
yeah.
did look that up.
Well,
He's better than his credit.
I totally agree. Then we have Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors.
The fuck?
Huh? Okay.
It's a biopic about Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I love Dolly Parton.
Let me tell you something.
I fucking love Dolly Parton.
Yeah?
all right? I love everything about her. I love the personality. Her music is fantastic. She's got a great voice. Huge tracts of land.
Huge tracts of land.
She actually she stopped in. My grandfather used to own an auto repair shop, and she stopped in to get one of her cars fixed.
Nice.
And she signed a picture for him. And he had, in fact, I think it's still up there. My uncle runs it now. And she's just always been like this saint to me. So I'll watch anything that she's in. I've seen a lot of her movies, actually. 9 to 5.
9 to 5 is probably the most popular
Yeah,
one.
yeah. What was the other one that she was in? I've already talked
Best
about her
Little
music
Whorehouse in
and everything.
Texas.
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And
Sorry,
so
I forgot to hit my buzzer.
I watched this. This came on NBC. It was her story, basically, like how she was raised up in Pigeon Forge in the eastern part of Tennessee, and she was dirt poor and all that stuff, and how she basically pulled herself up by her bootstraps. And it's a fantastic movie. It's a nice little Hallmark movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Except it was on NBC.
I hope I never even think about it again.
By the way, briefly will mention, and I know that we probably covered it in Kentucky, but Coal Miner's Daughter has a Nashville section as well.
Oh,
There's
that's
a
right.
Big point where she plays at the Grand Ole Opry, which is at the Ryman at the time.
Right.
And just a good 30 minutes in Nashville.
The Grand Ole Opry is a really confusing concept.
Yep.
It is.
Like, it's like I've lived here for 25 years and I don't think I get it.
Well, so it started at the Opry House.
But I mean,
in
is it the
Opryland.
name of a performance?
No, it's the name of the event, the weekly event, the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes, and it used to be. It was at the Ryman for like 30 years,
Right.
something like that.
And now, they still have performances of the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman regularly.
But it's mostly out of Opryland.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, didn't they even build their own whole like theater out there for it?
Yes.
Yep.
All
It's
right.
the new Opry House.
So it was the Grand Ole Opry until 1974, and then they built that other place, and it became the Grand Ole Opry. The reason why it's so confusing is that they kept the name Opry in that area where we know Opryland.
Yeah.
So so it's and then Opryland no longer exists. It's
That's
now
right.
Opry Mills.
Used to be a theme park. Were you here for Opryland?
No,
Was it
just missed it.
Yeah.
I visited because I came down in spring break in 96 and 97. And then I moved here in 98.
Okay.
So it was up at some point. I never went.
Yeah.
I don't have any
And
ties
I would
to it.
go probably 2-3 times a year with my grandparents, and they fucking loved Opryland. I
Yeah.
mean, we had a routine. We saw this show and we walked in, and we went to this roller coaster, and then we got food, and then we did this.
Yep.
It's interesting because when they decided to tear down and build that mall, that was the smart play. Theme parks were dying, malls were booming. Malls are now there's almost no malls being constructed.
Nope.
And they're trying these new like outdoor malls or mixed use kind of things. But theme parks are making a comeback. Right. And more than ever, like property based. Harry Potter Land, we're gonna have Marvel Land and Star Wars Land, and in hindsight, they might have been better off just rebuilding.
Well, plus it was a niche market. It was country music based, right? It wasn't just like a random Six Flags.
But they tore it down. I think even before country's full boom,
Right.
Because now
Well,
I think a park that was country music themed would be as attractive as fucking
Well,
Harry Potter Land.
Also, people who really liked amusement parks didn't go to Opryland. Like
That's true. Yeah.
The shit that I was hearing about, like people going to Kings Island and stuff like that. That's the people who liked roller coasters were going there. They were taking the extra trip to go there. Whereas Opryland, name one good ride. Don't say Chaos.
I actually like Chaos, but the Hangman was the last roller coaster that they built. That was the one that had the dangling seats.
Yeah.
I always liked the Wabash Cannonball.
Wabash Cannonball was fine. It's just that it was one
It was
fall
a one
and a corkscrew.
one trick pony. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that was it.
And I like the Screaming Demon too, because I actually don't like traditional roller coasters. So this was a little.
But
had
those
more
are dime
sway.
a dozen. I mean, you could see there's a Screaming Delta Demon called something else everywhere else. It's the Georgia Cyclone in Six Flags.
Yeah.
But even roller coasters are dying, I think. They're turning into these more video entertainment immersion based events, right?
So more
Yeah,
more like what Chaos was then.
Yeah, when I was this was a few years back, I went to Universal and Harry Potter World, and then, they had a Transformers ride, they had a Harry Potter ride, they had a Minions ride. All three of those rides were indoor, air-conditioned, screen, entertainment, immersion-based rides, whereas like the traditional roller coasters were few and far between. I just think it's interesting. In hindsight, the investors, whoever they may be,
Gaylord.
especially after the flood, may have wished that they, instead of rebuilding the mall,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would have taken my kid a million times to that park.
Then we have The Evil Dead, which is shot in what was it, Dyersburg or some? It was it's a real small town that it was shot in.
Morristown, Tennessee.
Morristown, Tennessee. This is like early indie movement, early 80s.
Yeah.
And I imagine they shot it for nothing as far as like acquiring any land to shoot it or anything.
Yeah, I think in fact that's the reason that they went to Tennessee. Just looking at this,
This is back in the day.
receptive.
This is Sam Raimi. I don't know if it's his first. I guess it would have to be almost. But the Coen brothers are his editors on this
It's his third
Wow.
feature.
third feature.
It's his fourth feature. His first one was 1977. It's Murder. And then 1978 was Clockwork and Within the Woods, and then Evil Dead came out in 81.
Okay.
Do you like this movie?
I don't gravitate towards it. I
don't-
like Evil Dead
I
2
haven't
better.
seen it in forever because, okay, I haven't seen it in forever, but from what my memory pulls up, Evil Dead 2 is essentially Evil Dead, but has the
Yes.
Raimi humor.
Evil
right?
Dead 2 has I know there's some Evil Dead like nerds out there, but if I recall, Evil Dead 2 has nothing to do, like it's not a continuation
Right.
of
It's
the first
It's
one.
essentially the same movie,
It's
right?
the same movie with comedy elements.
Right.
The first one is a little bit more straight-laced. In
Right.
fact, there may not be anything that's funny.
I
in
don't
the first
remember
one.
anything that was overtly funny.
Yeah. But yeah, like if you watch the first one and then you watch the second one, you're like, why is this asshole Bruce Campbell going out to the same cabin?
Right.
You know, and
With no knowledge from the previous movie.
right, and there's no explanation as to
Yeah.
oh, I went to a cabin like this once or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's like it really is like a straight up remake, but called Part 2.
Right. So that's why this one is just kind of like shoved under the rug for me. I'm sure if I go back and watch it, I'm sure it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's little Raimi touches back in those days, but like, if I'm going to go back and watch an Evil Dead movie, it's going to be either Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I think I watched this series backwards. I saw Army of Darkness first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did too.
And then I saw
Really?
Evil Dead 2, and then I saw Evil Dead.
That's
Because I had
funny.
a friend who knew, even back then, I wasn't so big on horror. So he said, now that it started out as a horror series, but by the third one, it's just straight comedy, and gave me like 3-sentence elevator pitch on what had happened up till now, and then showed me Army of Darkness, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
walked around going, this is my boomstick.
Well, yeah,
I gotta do
actually,
all the
and it-
quotes and
And the beginning of Army of Darkness plays the last bit
Yeah.
from Evil Dead 2, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, yeah, those two are connected. They're
Mm-hmm.
they have the the Necronomicon and all this going on, but yeah, that first one is really just kind of isolated by
Yeah.
itself. Plus, over the years, I think there's like of every single movie, there's got to be like 35 different versions of each movie. Like there's a director's cut, and then there's like some other kind of cut, and they keep they're just trying to get more money out of people who love Evil Dead. But like every new package that comes out has got new shit. And like, how do you have new shit after all this? Yeah, I haven't seen the original in a long time, so I don't know. I remember just comparing it to the other two and not thinking it was nearly as good.
Right. Me
But
too.
if you watch it, you realize there's just some innovative type of things going on in this. That Sam Raimi, like that sort of that dollying that he goes through the woods and everything. I don't think very many people will do that. It's very kinetic.
Yeah.
And he does that in the first movie. You see a lot of those Sam Raimi techniques going on in the first movie. It's really where he just goes balls to the wall in the second
Yeah.
one, though. Then we go on to The Firm, another Grisham adaptation. In fact, this was the first one. He had done A Time to Kill, which was a huge bestseller, and then The Firm was another one that was like on the bestseller list for like a year or
Right.
something like that. Got Tom Cruise in this thing. Got Gene Hackman.
This is probably in my top 30 of all time. I love this movie.
Really?
Wow.
That much?
I think this movie, it's Sidney Pollack directed it.
it's great.
All of the bit parts work great. Gary Busey and Holly Hunter and fucking Gene Hackman, like you were saying.
He made Wilford Brimley intimidating. He made the
Seinfeld
oatmeal
did it.
guy intimidating.
Yeah. He is. He's like, is he?
Not just a postmaster. I'm
Is he
also
like
a general.
Yeah. Is he like a fixer of some sort?
Yeah.
in this?
He's the firm's fixer.
Yeah. We're in Grisham land here. So this guy, Tom Cruise, is like a first in his class, whatever, gets hired at this awesome firm, whatever. And then he finds out firm is kind of evil.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
And they
instead of-
immediately get shit on him.
Yeah, instead of Al Pacino's devil being at the helm,
Yes.
they just happen to work for the mob.
Yeah.
Hal Holbrook is in this too. And God, it's just they go down to the Cayman Islands, and Gene Triplehorn is right, by the way, because like they just got married. He just graduated, and within maybe like a week or two, he goes down to the Cayman Islands. Happens upon this woman who's being assaulted, right, on the beach. And so after surviving and scaring off this person who had just assaulted this woman, she wants to fuck. And he immediately, not knowing this woman, not even seeing this woman before, just like shows up. She's on the beach. I'm just going to whip it out. That's it. And then that's the crux of the entire movie. I love this movie, but it's just so.
That's the real problem, because it's such an out of place moral failing for that character.
Yeah. I mean, you could see how this could happen, with a little more details thrown into it. But
Maybe.
I think it's there to elicit Gene Triplehorn's reaction, saying like, you were gone for one night. And literally the first thing you do is stick your dick in something.
Yeah. I mean, they want it for leverage. They take photos of him. It's all set up so that they can keep him in line later.
Right.
Which feels a little bit, I love this movie. This feels a little bit of a cheap plot.
No, I agree. That is like outside of what because he has seemed to be morally upstanding. That's the whole point of.
I mean, that's the whole thing. He goes
right?
and stands up to gangsters because it's the right thing to do, and yet he's just going to go, "Oh, I'll have sex with this hot chick on the beach." It just feels a little too wide of a gap. He's not really morally sketchy anywhere else in the movie.
That's true. He's doing backflips with the kid in the thing.
This is somewhat interesting too. Gene Hackman's name doesn't appear anywhere on the posters or any of the marketing of it, because I believe he asked to have share billing with Tom Cruise on the front of the poster, and they wouldn't allow that. This was a Tom Cruise movie, so Gene Hackman said, "Okay, just pull my entire name off of it."
That's crazy.
Yeah,
but it obviously didn't hurt his relationship with Grisham in any way, because then he makes The Runaway Jury.
Yeah.
So it must have been like a studio producer thing.
Yeah.
Or just a Tom Cruise thing.
Wasn't there? There was another one he did too.
The Chamber.
The Chamber. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, this is a excellent movie. Though I love the way the second half just unfolds. Like everything is done perfectly. Like he has to do this in this way. He has to turn the stereo up and tell Gene Triplehorn.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Where he's just pulling her in and everything and like whispering in her ear. She has to go off, and then they craft that whole story about why she's leaving.
Yeah.
And then the whole Holly Hunter stuff and like how she gets involved with it. The resolution that he uses to get out of his predicament is fucking genius. Of course, that was in the book. I love this movie a lot.
Yeah. No, it's really, really great. It would be right up there, and I think we even said this last week, with The Rainmaker for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that you could make a strong argument for any other Grisham movie as being better than those two.
No, definitely not. Then we have Great Balls of Fire. That's Dennis Quaid playing Jerry Lee Lewis. I forgot where Jerry Lee Lewis is from, but he is from Tennessee.
Yeah, this all happens down in Memphis. He now lives in Mississippi. He's still kicking, and he's crazy as a Betsy bug right now.
Oh yeah,
he is. He'll greet people with a shotgun.
Oh,
and he's all fucked up. This is a very good movie, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I will, because it's a 1989 movie.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's about Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder's in it,
and it's about his much maligned, rightfully so, marrying of his cousin, I believe, who was 13.
Yeah,
at
very
the time.
young.
And he didn't think anything was wrong with it. It's interesting the way Dennis Quaid plays him, because he thinks he's just this like, jovial, happy-go-lucky guy that just happens to be amazing on the piano. And then he, it shows his downfall. It's interesting. Alec Baldwin plays Jimmy Swaggart, who's his cousin. And you see Jerry Lee his trajectory going down as Jimmy Swaggart, who was a ne'er-do-well at first, going up. It's just really interesting dynamic. It's maybe played a little too saccharine, especially for this story. But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I love me some Jerry Lee Lewis music. Personally, he's a scumbag. Honestly.
Then we have Hannah Montana, the movie. Obviously, Miley is from Franklin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because when Billy Ray Cyrus had his achy breaky heart moment, he moved to Nashville, and like everybody, moved down to like Leapers Fork and Franklin and all.
Now I realize, like, he was on Hannah Montana the show, and and has done very well for himself post Miley's fame without leeching off of Miley's fame.
Right.
But man, he did a lot with a little, didn't he? Because that was like, I know he had at least one more song that charted. But
Yeah,
that's all anyone remembers
that
him
song
for.
called "Some Gave All," I think is what it was called, or something
think so.
like that.
Oh, was that the Pro Troop thing?
I think I can't remember, but that was the only song I can recall.
But I mean, they had lots of kids, and then he stretched that shit far, man.
Do they have lots of kids?
They have like 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
There
They
was-
have
there's-
Miley, Noah, Trace. Miley has another sister. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, there's
My wife
Are they
watches.
all famous, or is this you just know this just because you're a Miley fan?
I like Miley, but Miley's
I know Noah's
a famous
famous.
recording artist.
Yep.
Noah's a famous recording artist. I know about Trace, her brother, just because of news. And then her sister and her mom have like a HGTV show. Where they
really?
like, it's like Cyrus and sister, or Cyrus and mom, or
Really?
flipping Cyrus or something.
he has 6 total children.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
and I'm just saying, for one hit, you would have think he would have Mike Tyson himself and like bottomed out to where Miley would never even have a chance to get famous. But he didn't, man. He made that shit last.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, is what I'm saying.
Have you seen this movie?
Yes, I've seen this movie.
Hannah Montana is an unbelievable phenomenon. If you want to talk about mid-zeros as fuck, Hannah Montana is the mid-zeros as fuck.
Yes, indeed.
I can't remember. This movie I don't think took off. It's the best of both worlds that had Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus in it. That was a 3D event that I think may have made like 34 million in its opening weekend or
Jesus,
something.
maybe.
It was like some insane phenomenon.
That came before this, right?
That came before this.
Okay.
And then this one came out, and it was sort of the end of Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
I don't think that one made nearly as much of a mark, even though Hannah Montana at the time was Miley's calling card. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't have her own name really yet.
Right.
It was Hannah Montana was her thing. She shook that pretty quick, but I believe it was that best of both worlds that did some crazy amount of business.
Yeah, this one only was 80 million in the U.S.
Yeah.
This is also I often talk about my buddy Josh Childs. He's in this movie.
Yeah. And in fact,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen his scene.
He's the shoe store manager.
Okay.
And he's like,
Nice.
there's like a big fight that happens, and he's like keeps on trying to like say something,
Yeah,
interject
and that's
something.
it's actually the quote unquote inciting incident, because it's sort of like Hannah Montana's or Miley's breaking point as being like a rich, acting out, and they have to send her off back to the homeland
Right.
to remember her roots and whatnot back in Franklin, Tennessee.
I take it back. So the Hannah Montana the movie actually did better on opening weekend than that, and made more money overall.
Interesting.
So, but that best of both worlds, I just remember like selling out and like being like a huge thing. It was mainly for that opening weekend.
But yeah, this definitely was towards the end of the run of the TV show, too.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Hustle and Flow, we briefly mentioned that. This is Craig Brewer's, I believe, is it his debut? I don't know if it's his
What was
debut.
it, 2003?
This was 2005.
2005.
Yeah, this was the night that I saw 4 movies in one night.
This had to be in the top tier of the 2005 movies, right?
It was, yeah. Terrence Howard had been around for a really long time, but this was sort of a star-making performance for him.
What's his deal?
He's got a reputation.
He does.
Yeah, it was funny. We watched the first Iron Man, and I was reminded how much I like Terrence Howard's roadie more than I like Don Cheadle's roadie. And my son actually asked me, he was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "That's Rhodey." And he was like, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
Because he had seen all the other movies before this.
Well, it's this. In this case with Iron Man, what I remember was that he wanted a raise, and to the point where they weren't willing to give it to him because I think he knew where the character was going to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's
And-
even that moment where he looks at the suit and he's like, "Next time, baby."
Yeah, which
and
we
so,
send.
I think they were like, I think they took their ball and went home
Yeah.
and hired Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
But he definitely has that reputation. Miles Teller would be jealous of. No, this guy would be jealous of Miles Teller's reputation.
Yeah.
But
Neither
that's-
one of them have a great rep.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's is he a convict? Is he or
The
is
character?
Yeah,
He's a pimp.
He's a
He's an
pimp.
actual
he's
pimp.
a pimp.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He's a drug dealer and a pimp.
But he wants to sort of start a music career or recording career, and he's got Taraji P. Henson with him, and And the best scene for me of this movie is when he's doing his recording, and his neighbor, who they don't like each other, is making a bunch of noise, and he comes over and he knocks on the door, and he's like, man, I know that we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we don't really like each other and everything, and I can't really make you, I can only really just request that if you could just turn that down just for an hour or so and everything. I love that scene. So good. And then it won the Oscar for Hard Out Here for a Pimp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3-6 Mafia.
3-6 Mafia, which was a crazy moment in the Oscar.
Thank God.
Yeah.
We need more of that shit.
Definitely need more of that. But it was funny because this stuffy ass Oscar telecast suddenly had 3-6 Mafia.
The guys that did Slob on My Knob.
Yes.
Tell you what this movie does. It's hilarious the way they use DJ Qualls, because he is DJ Qualls, but he turns into like this accepted member of the group as like the producer and everything. Anthony Anderson is really good in this.
Taryn Manning in this? Am I thinking of a different movie?
Yes. No, you're right.
Okay, so I Walk the Line is the Gregory Peck movie, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I put that in the wrong place. I meant Walk the Line.
Okay, but there I looked up I Walk the Line, and it is about a sheriff in a small town in Tennessee, and Gregory Peck plays.
What are the odds?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
There you go.
I've never seen it, but anyway, we'll talk about Walk the Line. Joaquin Phoenix, Reese Witherspoon, and this is one of the better biopics, I'd say.
And I think it's almost solely because of those two, Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. They play them pitch perfect, no pun intended.
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix, I got a problem with that guy. Like, for some reason, like, I feel like maybe it's just I'm not really here or whatever. No, not that one. It's the documentary he did on himself when he was growing a beard and doing
I'm not here.
I'm not here. Yeah. Yeah. And so like that period, I guess, just seemed so pompous and so self-righteous that I don't know if I like him as a person.
Didn't he give an interview on a red carpet and ask if there was a frog on his head?
I don't remember that, but that's totally
I'm pretty sure
something
he's in the middle of a red carpet interview. Before it had come out officially, he was making this fictional documentary where he said, is there a frog on my head right now? I feel like there's a frog on my head. I swear to God, I'm going to find this video.
It probably is.
It's I'm Still Here, by the way. There were a lot of these, by the way, that came out. I'm Still Here, and the Bob Dylan one was called
I'm Not There.
I'm Not There.
And then there was a Zach Braff one that's
I'm neither here nor there.
Yes.
But anyway, all that being said, I do like him performance-wise. Like I find him endearing in Her and in fucking I Walk the Line, not I Walk the Line. And he's apparently really good in Sisters Brothers too. But he's terrific as Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah.
I think I like this movie 30% less than I used to after I saw Walk
Hard. This is the movie that Walk Hard is just destroying.
And it's doing such a good job. But I did see this 4 or 5 months ago again, and it is slightly better than most of these biopics, especially these musical biopics. It's certainly better than Bohemian Rhapsody. It's certainly better than Ray. But it's not so great that I'm just like, yeah, the world really needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Valley of Ella, that's
Jesus.
Paul Haggis, Tommy Lee Jones movie. Tommy Lee Jones has done a lot of Tennessee movies.
He has.
There's a breaking moment in the case in this movie. Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I have.
Where Tommy Lee Jones points out that the street light, the shade of the street light makes the car look blue when it's green or green when it's blue. All along they've been chasing this blue car or whatever. But he walks up and looks at streetlight made that look blue. It's actually green. Like, have you seen this movie?
Yeah, but back in 2007,
Yeah.
so I don't remember anything about
this
it.
movie was a slog. It's also depressing as hell too.
Well, it's based off of the true events, right? Of the ex-soldiers, right? That came home and committed a murder.
Yeah.
And I saw a documentary. It's interesting. I saw this back in the day too. But I saw a documentary about the real killings and the videotape, the interrogation tape of the guys like recounting what happened, because I think they dismembered the person too, and they're just like talking about it like they were ordering a taco or something like that. Like it's just completely clinical and that kind of thing. And the justification, I don't know what happened with the case, but the justification is that they had PTSD from their combat time, and that's why that contributed to both the event itself and then their affect afterwards.
Now, you wrote a note here that said this is supposedly in Georgia where this happened.
The actual thing.
But the movie sets it in Tennessee for some reason.
Yeah. Paul Haggis said he wanted to set it in a different area. I don't know why.
Because Tennessee gave him a little bit more of a tax break.
I guess so.
Yeah. Then we have Iron Man 3. Obviously, there's the point where Tony's suit goes on autopilot and he crashes. I think it was shot in North Carolina, but they called it Tennessee. He runs into a kid from Insidious and
and Jurassic World.
That
kid is always from a broken home, because in this movie he's like, Dad went out for scratchies and never came back.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago. And in the Jurassic World he's like literally crying on the tram about, I'm gonna have to have 2 Christmases and 2 Thanksgiving.
Oh my God, it's the worst part of that movie, and that's saying something.
Oh man.
But yes, he crashes there because he's going to seek out what happened to there's some sort of like anomaly that his suit was able to like detect that happened, and it was a mysterious deaths of soldiers in Tennessee. So he's investigating that. That's sort of his Sherlock Holmesian part of Iron Man. Where he's going around asking questions about what really happened, and he finds out that the soldiers were injected with the
Extremists.
with the goo.
Or the goo.
I like this section of the movie, though. I think this is probably the strongest section of the movie.
It is, strangely enough. After watching the movie again recently, I was like, wow, I remember like not really liking this because I think it was just the movie.
It's out of place.
The movie itself.
Yeah.
But like that part is the best part of that movie.
It's the only one that has him out of the suit completely, right?
Yeah. And and it's I wish the whole movie could have kind of been that, actually.
No, I do too. This movie is just all over the fucking place. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be this section where he's investigating and he's figuring out what's happening. And then you just get the whole Guy Pearce thing, and then the whole Pepper thing, and then the whole multiple suit things, and it's just like...
Well, just like, how many surprise...
The whole Mandarin thing.
How many surprise villains do we really need?
Yeah.
Because there's at least 2 or 3 in here. Rebecca Hall's like a surprise, not what I thought you were. I'm just like, man, if you could have just let Ben Kingsley be the Mandarin, and you just take, Dude Man out of it.
Guy Pearce?
I totally
and
agree.
the extremist thing, and just make it like a hardcore, very powerful terrorist cell that is not going to stop doing what it does just because Tony says to.
Yeah.
And then play that out.
Because they prop this guy up, and of course that's what leads to the whole, mischaracterization. But like they make him look like a very formidable villain.
Yeah.
And if they had paid off on it, I think it would have been awesome.
I'm actually okay with the idea of hiding behind this other bigger baddie.
Yeah.
And being a secret villain. But there's only a matter of time before you realize there's only one guy who could do this shit. And of course Iron Man 3 has these ridiculous things where like he can access something from a satellite truck in a news van.
Yeah.
And he like accesses all this shit that Guy Pearce like just happens to have stored on the suit. All these videos of all of his evil shit. He might as well have like listed a folder on there that said porn.
While we're here flirting with the MCU, you guys see that new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer?
I have.
I watched it twice, actually.
So I spent about 15 minutes talking with Frank from on Twitter about it, and we've already planned out the whole third movie. Because we've decided that in this movie, it's very likely that most of that group is going to find out he's Spider-Man. Because what are the odds you go on another field trip, this time to Europe, and Spider-Man is there to save the day again?
By the way, I think Zendaya already knows.
I think she does too.
Yeah.
And I'm throwing out, I think they're going to give him his own Buffy the Vampire Slayer like Scooby Gang
Ah.
to help him. Ned's already in. He looks to be dating the blonde girl. She's going to be in. And then we started playing with, what if in the next movie something knocks Peter out of commission and Flash Thompson has to get in the suit? Or Ned has to get in the suit. And they have to work collectively. So if you're listening, Sony, you give me a call. I'll write that thing
By
for
the
you.
way, is this story supposed to be after Infinity War?
I was going to ask that. I think what they're trying to do, although it's not explicitly stated in this trailer, is set it in between Infinity War and Homecoming. I should say Homecoming and Infinity War.
Or
No.
Endgame.
It's going to be set after Endgame.
Oh, you know?
It almost has to.
I have almost no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
No one from Sony has called me. But there are lots of clues in this trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to get too much into it because I think the trailer gives away plenty about what might or might not happen in Endgame. But I think it's pretty clear it's going to happen after.
Yeah, because
There's even a line in that trailer where somebody says to him, "You're all alone now."
Because think about this. Think about this. The he's doing his own thing. Tony shows up, says, "Here, be an Avenger for a day in the afternoon in the at the airport or whatever." And then, like in the next movie, it's in Homecoming. There's the whole beginning part of it where he's shooting that found footage looking thing or whatever.
From Civil War?
Which is right after that. Which is right after Civil War.
Yeah.
And then there's the bridge between that and Infinity War, which they couldn't have had that much time
Right.
in between those two movies. So it has to happen afterwards, unless it's one of those fudging, Marvel timeline.
Yeah,
things.
I mean, they fudged it in the first movie. The
Yeah.
first
I just
Spider-Man.
think it's very telling that Nick Fury would even show up to mentor Peter Parker at all if Tony's around to do it. Like, Tony's gonna die.
Oh, I got you. I see what you mean. I don't know why his Spidey sense didn't alert him that Nick Fury was here, by the way, when he walked in.
I saw somebody on Twitter say, still no Spidey sense? And some guy came below and said, "Did you not see Infinity War?"
I'm excited about it.
I thought the trailer looked great. I thought the music looked amazing. Sounded amazing because
Yeah,
it's
the
that
music
classic
does.
Spider-Man theme.
Sure does have a little bit of a whiff of Spider-Man 3, though, with the elementals or whatever
I think
it
that's
is.
actually going to be Sandman.
Well, I think it's 3 different villains, though.
It is, but I think that one of them is Sandman in this movie.
And then one's Waterman or whatever, and then one's Windman.
I actually think I know a great deal about what's going on here with Jake Gyllenhaal's character and the elemental things.
Is Mysterio a villain? Or is it one of those...
Yeah, he's a pest.
Huh.
He uses magic and illusions to make himself look like he's got superpowers. And for a time, he impersonates Spider-Man and frames him for crimes. I'm pretty sure he's doing Syndrome from Incredibles here.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure he created the elemental things so that he could destroy them and be a superhero. But by the end of the movie, is going to be the villain.
Interesting.
I just spoiled the whole fucking movie if I'm right, but
He says, you don't want none of this shit.
I saw your tweet. That's pretty funny.
With that said, let's talk about Kissin' Cousins.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, that's a real movie, huh?
It is. I grew up watching this movie.
Oh, then
This
it
is
can't
an
be
Elvis
what
movie.
I think it is.
Fucking
Oh.
Tennessee.
Yeah. He's a Navy air pilot or something like that.
Okay.
Air pilot?
Air pilot.
Right.
As opposed to a water pilot.
He pilots in the air.
Land pilot.
A water driver.
Yes.
And he comes. This is Elvis playing 2 roles. He's playing himself basically, and he's playing his podunk hillbilly cousin, who's blonde. And they get introduced to female cousins that are beautiful and proceed to do cousin fucking.
Yeah.
Cousin fucking. All right.
Yeah, it's not very good.
So they just went with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how distant of a cousin they are, but they're kissing.
Yeah.
Well,
That's,
I
it's
mean-
in the title.
This is it's like there's like the family has a lot of like marriage eligible beautiful women
Yeah.
in the family and in the town, and they all go crazy for these GIs that are in town.
Hey, that movie sounds great, but Kissin' Cousins has Kissin' Cousins in
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
morphine.
Nashville.
Ooh.
Best Picture nominee, 1975. And this is a great movie. It's good. It's polarizing for a lot of people, though.
This is my favorite Robert Altman movie.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the player? Or would
The
you say
player's
Nashville?
mine.
Yeah.
I only saw this once, so I got to go with the player
Mm.
and MASH.
I got you.
Yeah, MASH would
before
be
I
up
go
there
with
too.
this.
MASH would be up there too. I did not like Nashville when I first watched it. I think I've mentioned that before. Mainly because when you are tied to that place, you start thinking, well, they're just making fun of us.
Yeah, you get a little defensive. It's easy to.
Yeah, and I believe that's why in Nashville, the movie Nashville is still today not really considered like a great movie because people felt slighted by it. And when you go back and you start, saying that's not that important anymore, and you just watch the movie for what he's trying to do, you know that it's America and not just Nashville.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody comes off as a caricature. I mean,
No,
maybe Henry Gibson.
Henry Gibson kind of does, but
we know people like
there
that.
are people like that.
Yes, I know people that wear nudie suits and shit like that.
Yes.
and are inextricably tied to the government and stuff like that.
But meanwhile, you run into intellectuals in this movie.
Yeah.
You run into people who are trying to make it. You have people who are just average, everyday people. You know, it's not a lot of country bumpkin stuff. The writer of this, I can't remember her name. The reason why there's a big traffic jam at the beginning was because she actually, when she came here to Nashville, that was the first thing she ran into.
Oh yeah, it's Joan Tewksbury.
Joan Tewksbury,
Yeah.
she ran into a big traffic jam, and so she put that right in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But just like all the Altman movies, if you've ever seen any like Altman movie, it goes around, it roves around, it doesn't like focus on one thing for very long. It just kind of like here's somebody's life. Now let's go on to somebody else's life, and now to somebody else's. And there's very, very loose connections between all of them, and it all ends at the Parthenon and Centennial Park and everything, and a political assassination.
Yeah, this movie's great. I want to watch it again, even though it's fucking long.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Yeah, when I first watched this movie, the scene where the would-be singer goes and she strips down naked in front of everybody, I was like, oh, well, why did she do that or whatever? And now there's just a little bit extra connotation to it now that I'm older and everything. There's nothing but men in that one place. There's not one woman at all.
Yep.
And she thinks they're there to hear her sing, and she's an awful singer. She just, nobody's able to tell her.
Right.
And she goes in there, and then like all these guys are all like, just take it off and everything. And of course, there's this element like, well, maybe if I take it off, they'll like me and they'll sign me up. That's just a sad part of that movie. When you first watch it, like especially my age, I was like, "Oh, nice, nudity," whatever.
No, it's devastating.
Yeah, but then you realize it's one of the most devastating parts of that movie
Because there's no hope for that character.
No.
She is not. I don't think she ever stops.
No,
I think she's still trying to achieve her dream, and she's
she does. She
never
gets
gonna do it.
a somewhat redemptive part by the end because she gets to sing after the assassination happens.
Oh,
or
that's
whatever.
right. Yeah.
So she has one little bit of a redemptive arc at the end of it and everything. This movie's got so many people in it.
It does.
Lily Tomlin, Keith Carradine.
Lily Tomlin is great in this movie.
Yeah, Ned Beatty's in it. Henry Gibson. You have I think Elliot Gould for a little.
Shelley Duvall. Jeff Goldblum. Sudden Jeff Goldblum.
Who's like riding around on one of those like low rider things, and it's just it's not a movie you get into for plot. It's really just like a slice of life of like all these people and everything, and depends on whether or not you're in that mood to watch that movie.
It's good.
I did not realize Norbit was set in Tennessee.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, man. I don't think there's anything Tennessee about it. It's just where it's set.
Yeah. I can't remember anything about this movie.
Norbit is the geeky dude who marries Eddie Murphy in drag,
Yeah.
the big lady.
Yeah.
And she bosses him around and basically, tells him what to do. And I think it's Tandy Newton.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is his love interest that he eventually divorces the big lady for, and happily ever after.
I've seen this movie.
Sucks.
I've seen this movie.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
sucks.
remember anything about it. I just remember that the movie came out around the time of the Oscars, and Eddie Murphy was nominated for Dreamgirls, and a lot of people were like, the guy who's in Norbit has been nominated for an Oscar.
It's funny, in Coming to America, Eddie Murphy played multiple characters, as did Arsenio Hall, and I think he literally took from that, what makes this movie funny is me playing multiple characters.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do from now on. And the wrong lesson to take away from that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have the notorious Betty Page, where Gretchen Mol plays Betty Page. Betty Page, an interesting character.
Yeah.
Was like real Christian, but like would go like got all these like nude modeling jobs and stuff like that. Didn't think anything of it whatsoever, but was super Christian during this entire time. And there's like a scene in there where this guy's like taking pictures of her out in the out in the woods or something, and he's like, well, could you take off your shirt maybe? And she's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, whatever. And then it's like, okay, and maybe the shorts too, and all that. And she's like, okay. And then she's like fully nude, and he's like, but could you cover down there? I
Right.
can't take a whole picture of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Gretchen Mol is, I love Gretchen Mol.
This is a complicated character because it shows that she's had a traumatic youth and upbringing and stuff like that. But when it gets to when she's Betty Page and she's kind of taking control of her own sexuality, that woman is full on sexy as hell. Gretchen Mol as Betty Page.
Yeah.
She's like perfect. She's gorgeous in that movie.
I think my favorite Gretchen Mol performance is The 13th Floor.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's actually a long time.
That's actually a movie people
was
would talk
99.
about if The
99?
Matrix and Dark City hadn't come out at the same time. People might actually talk about The 13th Floor.
Yeah, 13th Floor, I believe, was the first movie that played when I first went to Hollywood 27. There was Star Wars had come out the previous week, and then I think 13th Floor was the following week.
13th Floor. That's
Which
crazy.
is, if you're a marketing, if you're trying to set your movie up to succeed, don't come out with a sci-fi movie 1 week after Star Wars.
It's way better than 13 Ghosts.
That's,
Yeah.
I like 13.
Oh God. Or the movie 13.
Actually, that's a good movie.
I like that one.
No, that's a good movie.
Do you like this movie, by the way? Notorious Betty Page?
It's
Haven't seen it.
The movie itself is not very good.
Her performance
Gretchen
is
Mol
great.
is great, yes.
But yeah, I didn't think the movie was all that special.
No,
overall.
it's not. It's just a typical biopic type of movie. I mean, you've seen a lot of these type of things. Norma Jean and Marilyn, HBO came out with one that was just like this. Just, the trappings of fame. Gia. They're all sort of lumped up in the same thing.
Am I the only one that's a little bothered when they call Ruth Bader Ginsburg the notorious RBG?
Maybe.
I feel like
I think it's a badass nickname for her.
I feel like it diminishes her by linking her to a rapper.
I mean, I guess. I think it's making her even more badass than she actually is.
Well, that may be the case. I just feel like she should have her own name. Right? Because when you say the notorious, what do you think? You don't think Betty Page, you think B.I.G. And the
That's
only
true.
reason they gave her this nickname is because she's got a G in her initials.
I think of the song, No, Notorious.
So it's like, I feel like what I'm trying to say is grammatically it's offensive. It's like saying you're only great in comparison because we can use this nickname with you. You're only great
I
linked
see where
with
you're going with it.
grammatically.
I think you can. I think if there was no Notorious B.I.G., they'd find some other name
Like
to-
Muscle Hamster.
Muscle Hamster.
Remember that guy?
No,
You don't?
No.
Doug Martin. It was who?
Doug Martin.
No, it wasn't Doug Martin.
Yeah, it was.
No,
When he was in Tampa Bay, they called him the Muscle Hamster.
I thought it was the guy on Jaguars.
Or you're thinking about Maurice Jones-Drew. It wasn't him. Muscle
No,
Hamster
the guy
was Doug
after
Martin.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
Who was the guy after?
Either
Leonard
way,
Cohen?
he hated the nickname Muscle Hamster.
Yeah.
And basically, Streisand affected himself by trying to beg people to stop calling him that, and just made more and more people call him that.
Then we have Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief.
Oh, Jesus.
There is a brief excursion.
Oh, yeah, because they turned the wrong way.
They turned the wrong way, Al. I mean, yeah, you can go that way, but but it's better to go the other way. Yeah. And if you have a GPS, it's not going to tell you to go that way. But yeah, they go to the Parthenon because apparently when the Greek gods sent all their gifts, they decided to put it all in America for some fucking reason.
Yep.
Maybe it was when it was Pangea. I don't know.
As
who cares?
You do. Was it Doug Martin?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I doubted you.
Yeah, just don't. It's just that one section. Then there's Sex Drive. Yeah, the guy is driving down to Knoxville to see.
What was her name?
Her name. It's either the chick from 30 Rock. I think it is the girl from 30 Rock.
Oh, the receptionist.
Yeah, the receptionist in 30 Rock, and I can't remember her name right now. But it's something that I think still goes on. It's sort of catfishing type stuff where he's pretending to be this awesome football player, and he's got the wrong picture, and she is she really is hot though.
Yeah, it's her, but she's like,
but she's the one that's catfishing.
Yes, yeah,
because she's like, come on down to Knoxville and we'll have a great old time. And he has this big like road trip down to Knoxville.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she does this all the time, and she's trying to rob people because he says something about having money.
Yeah, it's weird. And then she ends up like fucking the What's Up guys, right? Don't they? Like,
I don't know if they. You mean the two guys?
Yeah,
who
the two
are
guys.
Like, hey,
what's up? What's
yeah,
up? What's up?
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
up?
I don't know if she does.
I think she does because they never get any. As like confident as they are, like they never get any women. They like are shocked when she offers herself to them.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. Katrina Bowden is her name, by the way.
This movie's awesome.
It's got some funny moments in it for sure.
Oh, I love it, man. I'll watch it.
It's
anytime.
got a great trailer too. It's got the MGMT song. What is it? What song?
Time to Pretend.
Time to Pretend.
Every fucking trailer has that song.
Does it? This song. This one, it was particularly memorable for some reason. It was just.
I don't even remember the trailer for this.
I really wanted to see it, and our theater didn't get it, so I didn't watch it until it was on video. But yeah, fun movie.
The movie is hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Amanda Crew, Seth Green. The main guy is forgettable, but Clark Duke is so great in this. He's a Lothario.
Oh, yeah, Clark Duke is
Clark
fucking
Duke
funny,
looks like
man.
Clark Duke.
Yeah.
But like at the party, like
he
that
acts
he's
like
throwing.
He acts like he's the like
He's walking around in like a cravat and shit.
Yeah, he's acting like he's Mystery from the pickup artist
And
stuff.
every girl loves him. He's like, "Hey, come over here, baby. Can you make out with him, please?"
Yeah, and he like
she starts to talk. He's like, "I didn't ask you to talk. I asked you to make out."
and he ends up with like this girl, this Amish girl who's gorgeous. Oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, you have Amanda Crew in here who plays that weird hot friend of the loser guy who wants to be with the loser guy. Okay.
But no, she likes him or he likes her?
She likes him.
She likes him.
But I think he may have liked her, but has given up or something.
Right. Yeah.
And then like he's going down there, and then she starts feeling jealous because he's going to go down and try to hook up with somebody else and everything. But Amanda Crew, you mostly know her from Silicon Valley these days.
She's great.
Yeah. Then we have The Thing Called Love, which is the Samantha Mathis movie where she tries to make it in country music. Peter Bogdanovich directed this.
Wow, wow.
And,
okay, I saw this movie recently.
Yeah, it came
like
on actually about a month or so ago. I saw it.
I remember I watched it like when it came out, and then it was a movie that I liked enough. I watched it a few different times. I had the soundtrack for a while, and because I don't really like country music, but this movie makes country music. At least the country music within this movie, singable.
Yeah, it's Bluebird Cafe style country, which is a little more
to
palatable.
the point where when I told you we came down in spring break to Nashville in '96 and '97, that second year we went to the Bluebird and signed up, and
really?
At that point they were sort of like it was first come first serve, but some kind of a drawing.
Oh yeah,
and we were told to take our slip home with us and come back next Wednesday. And we might still get called, but we obviously had to go back to Illinois, and we didn't get called. But that we went there because of this movie, because this movie shows the Bluebird as the place where you can get discovered. Of course, Taylor Swift was famously, quote unquote, discovered there. Even though I think there is a sort of manufactured element to it today, it is still considered one of the best places for songwriters to get their songs heard.
And hard to believe, but it's in the Green Hills area. It's nowhere near Music Row.
In a
It's nowhere
strip
near,
mall.
In a strip mall. Nowhere near Opryland. Nowhere near all those places.
No. But there's a lot of people in this. Dermot Mulrooney's in this. Young Sandra Bullock's in this. You probably forgot that. River Phoenix, of course. It's his older River Phoenix.
This is River Phoenix's last movie, maybe.
It's one of them, if not the last.
One of the things about this movie was that River Phoenix was showing up loaded a lot, apparently, on the set. And Bogdanovich had a certain deft touch with him where he was able to still get a performance out of him.
Because that's the character. The character is sort of like, he's better than everyone else. He's obviously going to make it. He uses people, and he's into drugs and alcohol. And so I think he was able to just maybe, he showed up loaded today. Let's shoot the scene where they fight. So basically, Samantha Mathis comes to town. She's fucking adorable.
Yes,
She is so adorable.
And she's obviously, she's naive. She's, she's got high hopes, but she's actually got talent. And she ends up falling in with River Phoenix and Dermot Mulrooney, and she marries River Phoenix.
Yep.
Way fast, like a Chris Pratt fast.
Yeah.
And it's a rocky marriage. Dermot Mulrooney actually loves her and cares about her. There's a great little bit where he breaks into Trisha Yearwood's house.
Yeah.
Or car to put his song in her tape. And
she ends up listening to it.
she comes down to the police station in her fucking bathrobe. You wrote this, huh?
Yeah.
And decides not to press charges.
Awesome. You're immediately signed, and you didn't do anything to my car after all.
I really, really like it. I think, again, much like that thing you do, it taps into that part of me that around, 18 wanted to be in a band, wanted to be a singer, wanted to make it big. All the actors are great. And I think the woman that plays the lady who runs the Bluebird is the real lady that runs the Bluebird.
Oh, really?
I think she's not played by an actress.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, actually. She is some sort of legend around here.
Yeah, she's some kind of something. Anyway, I really like it. I think the songs are really great. Almost all original songs for this film.
KT Oslin.
Okay, yeah. Just River Phoenix, there's a reason why he was touted as the next James Dean. He's magnetic. He's brooding. He's mysterious in a dark way.
I loved River Phoenix, man.
He's so good that even in this more casual, lighthearted pursuit of country music movie, what's funny is I was watching this movie and it made me do some Googling because there's a scene, we might have talked about this, but there's a scene where they yell from the rooftop of a hospital and there's no Batman building.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Batman building wasn't done being built when they filmed this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like it. It's probably one of my favorites on this whole list of Tennessee movies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it.
That movie made nothing, too, when it came out. It made $1 million.
Wow. Crazy.
It may be the lowest of any wide, well, this was like 490 screens, but it was one of the lowest of any wide release. I think their strategy was to try to come out with it in states like Tennessee where country music was popular. It didn't work.
No, and you're really kind of banking on River Phoenix to draw, and he was never a mainstream star.
Yeah,
He was considered a great acting talent, but he wasn't a blockbuster star. The general audiences weren't going to be like, "Oh, River Phoenix is in that? I'll come watch it."
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock wasn't a star yet. Samantha Mathis wasn't a star yet. So it really didn't have a chance. But it's way better than that.
Yeah. Then we have Trash Humpers, which is Harmony Korine.
Trying to make it through. This is a nice challenge. Now, this was on Mubi.
I watched it on Mubi.
Try to make it through this entire movie.
There's something hypnotic about Trash Humpers. This
made it
movie's
through.
not good. Look, it's. But you know what? Is this a movie like really is this movie really hoping that you have one feeling one way or another about it?
It's purely experimental.
Is it maybe hoping that you are disgusted by it? I don't know. The movie's hypnotic. I watched it and I was like, why am I still watching this?
I know.
And you're and there are a lot of like little, it was shot around, I think, a lot of the Green Hills and Belmead area and places like that. And you sort of like, whoa, do I know that place? Do I really know?
That place where he's pooping. Do I know?
Yeah. Like it's like, oh, that street sign. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know that street, but I don't really know that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have What's Love Got to Do with It?
Yep.
That's Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne, Tina Turner biopic.
She's great. I don't remember if I really actually liked the movie.
It's another one of those, right? The movie isn't great, but the performances are stellar.
Tina Turner's from Nutbush, Tennessee.
Nutbush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nutbush.
Where is Nutbush?
I don't know.
It's just
Haywood County, wherever
just
Haywood
south
County
of.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
When you get to the erection, you take a right.
That's right. I've got to know.
Oh my God! I just saw a headline that said Sofia Coppola and Bill Murray are going to make an A24 movie for Apple.
There's a lot to unpack in that one.
There is, but I like the idea of her and Bill Murray reuniting, and A24 has pretty good track.
No, everything about that is awesome except for the Apple, which seems a little weird.
Well, they're trying to be Netflix and Amazon with their own.
For Apple TV.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I
going
gotcha.
to release
I
it
gotcha.
themselves.
I'm down with that.
Nutbush is like northeast of Memphis.
There you go. Nutbush.
Also, that Sofia Coppola movie I told you about, The Beguiled, with Colin Farrell, that I told you was plotting.
Yeah.
That's a fucking remake
Yep.
of a
Oh, really?
Clint Eastwood movie.
Yep.
Really?
I'm flipping channels the other day and I see The Beguiled and I'm like, well, I'll check it out again, see if it's any better than I thought it was. And it's Clint Eastwood. It's the same fucking movie. Like, why do you remake
he's
that movie?
the Colin Farrell character?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's I think that was just one of those things where that first movie didn't connect with a lot of people and they tried to make a modern version of it or whatever.
That also didn't connect.
Yeah, didn't connect at all. Sophia Coppola. Then the other list here, we have Lee Daniels, The Butler. I never saw this. This
Me
was a
neither.
big hit.
It was.
That had everybody in it, right?
Yeah.
Oprah and Forrest Whitaker. And,
Butlers who work at the White House.
Right.
And I don't remember what the Tennessee connection is.
I don't know, but they hammered it that it's Lee Daniels, the butler.
Yes.
Yes, John Grisham's the Rainmaker.
Because he did Precious, and that movie was so great.
Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Butler, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
New York's hottest club is
Yeah.
Precious.
Then we have The Curse. I never saw this 1987 horror movie.
Yeah.
I saw it. Is it in Wes Craven?
I don't know.
I think it is. I
It
think
looked
it
like
was
he
like
had
that
some sort of...
right around like Scream era Wes Craven.
Oh, no. David Keith, but I don't know if that's that. It is that David Keith. And he's from Knoxville. David Keith, who is obviously the white version of Keith David.
How'd you get the beans above the fry?
He's been in a million things. You've seen David Keith before, but he directed that movie.
Wow.
All
right.
Then we have A Face in the Crowd. That's that Andy Griffith movie where he's this is a great movie.
Everything about this it looks awesome.
This is a great movie. Andy Griffith. This is sort of one of those where like, are you familiar with Being There? Are you familiar with?
Yes, with Peter Sellers.
Yeah, Peter Sellers,
Yeah, yeah.
a good book too.
Yeah.
Being There, Peter Sellers is a guy who knows very little other than just flowers.
Right.
And but he speaks in this way that people think is symbolic and is deep.
Mm-hmm.
So he suddenly somehow throughout the course of this movie becomes a major candidate for a political party.
Right.
In this, Andy Griffith is sort of the simple kind of guy or whatever. And he doesn't really want to be a political candidate or whatever, but he plays these little, I haven't seen it in forever. I don't know the exact crux of how he got into this thing, but he plays these songs on TV and everything. And people are like, he'd be a great candidate. And suddenly he starts spouting out all this stuff and everything and becomes a major candidate and whatever. And it's really good. I haven't seen it since I haven't seen it in about 10 years.
I really want to see this. This is 1957, so I think this is before the Andy Griffith Show, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is, and it's a real young Andy Griffith.
And it's Walter Matthau's in this too, and Elia Kazan directed it. So this is something that's on my list now.
Yeah. An Arkansas drifter becomes an overnight media sensation as he becomes drunk with fame and power. Will he ever be exposed as the fraud he has become? It's sort of one of those things where people start believing in him, and then he starts believing in his own bullshit. He's just a normal, regular dude who's just out playing music and stuff, and then suddenly he becomes this major thing. You see a few movies that do this with average, everyday people becoming huge political candidates, whatever. This is a fan-fucking-tastic movie. Huge recommend from this.
You're gonna watch it.
You will see Andy Griffith in a different light because most of you have seen Andy Griffith's show, have seen Matlock. Mm-hmm. Maybe you've even seen him in Spy Hard. But,
or Waitress.
Yeah, or Waitress. But this is a different performance for him. From the Rough, I've never seen this.
Golf movie.
Have you seen this?
Nope. Just going by the title. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. It's about a female golf teacher at TSU, at Tennessee State University.
Which is also pretty close to here.
Yeah, and she's coaching the male team. She's the only female coach for a male team.
Yeah.
So, okay. It's like Ladybugs?
Yeah.
It's like David Keith. It's the David Keith to Ladybirds. Keith David.
Then we have Kill Switch, which is a Steven Seagal movie from 2008.
Right,
He's long past his prime at this point.
Yes.
Why are people still giving him money? Mystery Train, Jim Jarmusch movie, 1989. Movie set in Memphis. I haven't seen this, and strangely, Barrett hasn't.
No, I thought I had seen all of the Jim Jarmusch movies, and this is literally probably the only one that I haven't seen.
The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia.
Yep.
Dennis Quaid, Mark Hamill movie. I haven't seen this either.
They're coming up to Nashville to make it. It's basically the thing called Love.
Wow.
But yeah, Mark Hamill, Dennis Quaid, and Christy McNichol.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And then we have Our Very Own. Came out in 2005. I don't know about it. Don't know what it is. It came out in 2005, so I should have seen it, but it's probably one of those that it's not a big release.
No, it wasn't a big release.
But it has Allison Janney, Keith Carradine, Cheryl Hines.
That's the white version of Carradine Keith.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That is that. Yeah, that's profound.
I could do this all day.
Then we have The River, another movie with Sissy Spacek and Mel Gibson in this. The River. I've never seen this either. Tennessee Waltz, Julian Sands.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
From Jennifer's Body.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
From Warlock.
Not Jennifer's Body, but the what is that movie called? It's the one where it was going to be Kim Basinger in the box, and it ended up being Sherilyn Fenn. And
the
Body Part. No,
but it might be Body Parts.
is maybe Body Parts. I don't know.
I think it's Body Parts.
I remember that movie.
That's the only thing I remember Julian Sands from.
He was in that Warlock series, I think.
Yeah, Warlock is the big thing that he's from, and I've actually seen him in some other movies, but he doesn't look like his Warlock character,
Right,
so
right.
I always forget that it's him. It's Boxing Helena. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Walking Tall, the Joe Don Baker one where he goes around beating ass with a baseball bat. I may have seen the original Walking Tall. I definitely saw the rock version
Right.
of it. The rock version is this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I watched Walking Tall. It was a short movie, the rock one. I watched it one morning going into the theater. Just to screen it or whatever. And it gets over in an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. It's really short. And I go up and there is this thick, huge amount of film left after the movie's over. And it's all credits. That
what?
was the sort of their way of getting the movie to feature length.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's
taking,
one name at a time.
Somebody said Venom is like that.
Oh, really?
That there's almost 20 minutes of credits at the end of Venom.
that will do it for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
And
I think we did it proper justice.
I think so. I mean, it's unfortunate I haven't seen like every last one of these, but not like many like great movies that come out.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, there was a decent amount of them, though. I was wondering, you think back, and I immediately thought about Nashville and Hustle and Flow and stuff like that. But yeah, we've got a good representation in Tennessee.
And
much better than fucking South Dakota.
Yeah, for sure. Fuck you, South Dakota. That's why
Fuck you, buddy.
That's why you share with us. But no, it's weird because some of the movies you may know Nashville from, we did not mention, like The Green Mile and Last Dance and The Last Castle.
Right, yeah.
The Last Castle. Did we mention that in Kansas? Because that was Leavenworth.
Oh, wow. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did, but The Last Castle was shot here. But I think it's supposed to be Leavenworth. And Rod Lurie, who was at the time like supposed to be just hot shit because he did The Contender and he was a Spielberg's boy and all this. And that movie came out, and he's done some movies you've heard of, but he's never recovered.
That, he went to that. He did a TV show with Gina Davis as president.
Oh yeah, the what is that?
Madam President.
Madam President.
No, that's Madam Secretary. So it's what was the Gene?
I forget the name of that.
The first lady, the first shit. But
I'm
he did
looking
that.
him up.
He did some kind of TV show with a political TV show. Is what he did.
Actually,
after
it wasn't a bad show. I
that. I
caught a
don't
few
think I
of
ever
those.
saw it.
Commander in Chief.
Commander in Chief.
No, there you go.
But yeah. So I guess that we don't have time for anything else.
No, we don't.
Okay, well that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by CinemaSins on Facebook, our CinemaSins Twitter, SoundCloud, also on Discord, the CinemaSins channel on Discord. Be lurking there every once in a while. Lurking.
Yes.
You have moved into a dark place. You are likely to be eaten by a grue. There's a lot of places to come reach us and talk about this very episode. But that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Agneson, Jeremy Scott, and Barrett Scher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
What's annoying is this is Spinal Tap showed up on the Tennessee page. It showed up on like fucking 10 states.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think we'll ever talk about it because it doesn't apply to one state.
Same thing could be applied to Almost Famous.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck that
I didn't
guy.
even intend to watch it. I just was flipping around because there weren't any movies on, and it came on. And
no, I'm sure it's riveting. There's a guy named Jim DeRogatis in Chicago that hosts a podcast. Actually, I met him at the Music Box Theater. Yeah. And he started this anti-R. Kelly crusade maybe 8-10 years ago or something like that, and said, here's all the evidence. He published it in the Chicago Sun at the time. Here's all the evidence. It was like just long read. And I was like, that really like caught my eye from the beginning. And since then, there's no equivocating what he's been doing. There's no reason that he should be like living free right now. He should be locked up.
And like the songs that he's put out, like in blatant defiance.
Oh, yeah. Age ain't nothing but a number.
Well, and has a song called I Admit.
Yeah.
Where
that was that like 13-minute song or something like that.
19 minutes.
Yeah.
This documentary is going to do something.
Finally. I mean, seriously.
And that's why I'm talking about that Michael Jackson documentary coming up. I think it's fun. They're going to start an actual real conversation there. Because this is not like Making a Murderer where you can, or whatever the podcast was that preceded.
Serial.
This is not like where you can just withhold evidence and paint, and blindside me, an audience member, and make me think one thing, and then later I learn, there's all this other evidence. These people are. This is women on camera being interviewed saying, R. Kelly did this to me, and did this to me, and did this to me.
Yeah,
He did one interview after that trial. I don't want to talk. The whole podcast is going to be about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
He did an interview after that trial with BET. Guy's first question is, do you like teenage girls?
Mm-hmm.
And R. Kelly sits there for about 5 seconds and goes, it depends on what you mean by teenage.
Oh, fucking shit.
Wow.
What a fucking asshole.
And the guy goes, girls who are teenagers. And R. Kelly goes, 19?
Fuck. I think everybody should be able to get one punch in his balls.
It's like
Everybody should line up
you
and
haven't
punch
seen-
him in the balls.
You haven't seen Death of Stalin yet, have you?
No.
There's that part where Buscemi's like, I hand out vouchers where everybody can get one kick in his ass or whatever he says. And then the guy he's talking about says, what did he say? Or is he going to have it at me or whatever? And the guy's like, no, he said something much more complicated about a voucher system.
Yeah.
Did you see that whole thing with the Fire Festival documentaries?
There's apparently 2 of them, right?
Netflix they've been like doing heavy promos
Yeah.
for theirs, which looks awesome. But then Hulu came out with one and dropped it like 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. Like just to usurp Netflix.
With like a
hey,
similar or identical title. Even.
yeah, exactly.
So, hey, we've been doing it too. And then they've sort of, I guess, rode the coattails of their, of Netflix's.
Yeah, they didn't have to market it. They just said, oh, yeah, by the way, ours is coming out 4 days before yours is.
Yeah. Where is the Fire Festival?
It was on an island somewhere in
Yeah.
the Keys that you literally had to take a boat to this, basically a sand dune.
Yeah.
And it was, who was the one legit guy involved? Like Ja Rule or somebody who had a radio career at one point, and then some shady promoter, and they marketed it at like the Paris Hiltons of the world, the super rich elite, and they just didn't follow through on any of it.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being hundreds of people stranded on an island with some tents
No,
and
God.
like cheese sandwiches.
I bet that was a fucking nightmare.
So I am ready for both of those documentaries because that was a great story when it came out.
Girl, you look good when you back that ass up. You a big, fine filly.
I gotta tell you, I have been walking around my house the last several days going, she's a fine filly. And I've kind of turned Chris into like Hannibal Lecter as I do it. She's a fine filly, Clarice.
I am now officially at a point where I can remember about 98% of the videos that we've done. So there's 2% where I'm like, have we done Minority Report? And I'm like, we've done a lot of things with Minority Report.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done the movie though. But I swear, like I remember sins about that movie, and I looked in Gmail, didn't see anything. I even went to our Wikipedia page that somebody's been keeping up, and I was like, doesn't say it anywhere here. And I guess I could just go to the YouTube channel itself and type Minority Report in there. I didn't think about that.
It does feel like we've sinned it though.
But it feels like we've done it, and I don't. Usually, though, I can type in Minority Report or some movie title into Gmail, and I'll see, script, Final A, or whatever.
Yeah.
I hardly ever delete those. So I have like everything from the past 6-7 years in there.
Yeah.
And so like that one has never, that one does not come up. I can probably just go to the channel though and just type in Minority Report. It's as easy as that. But,
So we haven't?
I don't
Done
think we have, but it feels like I was trying to remember, like, it seems like we send this and this and this and this and this, but I can't remember the video.
No, it's not on there.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
So I don't think we've done it. I just think that in my head, like I may have watched it and like wrote sins in my head for it. Like if
We've done so many outtakes with it
well,
too.
yeah, especially Orgy of Evidence.
Yeah.
What's weird is that, I mean, the only way I would know just without researching on a computer or whatever would be if I could remember like specific sins.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of movies that are in that gray area.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, it feels like we've
Literally in
done that.
the gray area. There are a lot of times that he's not
He's just like,
helpful.
I don't know.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a point where he says he thinks he knows what it is, and she goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I don't know."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's. There's a couple of times.